This is BL in the Air, a podcast where we talk about Thai BL dramas. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Chy.
And I'm your other host, Alex.
And today we're kicking off our second part to our Only Friends episode. So the last episode we talked about the first half of the show. The second half we are going to be talking about the second half of the show. So this episode's going to be a continuation from there. But before we get into that, we like to do a little check-in with both of us to see what we're watching and what's going on with us right now. So, Alex, what's in the air with you?
So, I started watching OMG Vampire.
Uh-huh.
Now that it's finished airing, I need you to watch it.
Okay. It
is
finished airing. It's only 8 episodes?
It's only 8 episodes.
Okay.
It's got the same kind of campy feel that 1,000 Years Old did.
Okay.
It's not as I don't know, I'd say maybe not as charming as like with the male leads, because it's more of an ensemble thing too, because there's four leads, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of bounces around a lot, but it's honestly, I've had such a good time with it. I'm glad I watched 1,000 Years Old first, because I needed to be to understand kind of the level of campy to expect from it, and just because I think if I'd have gone into this way, the same way I went into 1,000 Years Old, where I was like, oh, it's gonna be a vampire show, it's great, I think I would have kind of hated it.
Yeah. You're acclimatized now.
Yeah, I have to be in the right mindset to appreciate a show that is just this goofy and ridiculous, because it does not take itself serious at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because so there's a vampire world and then the human world, and so the vampire world is called Thai Twilight.
Okay.
That's how unserious it takes itself, right? That's where it is.
It's like parody almost.
Yeah. And then so for whatever reason, some population control, they've decided this whole generation of vampires aren't allowed to date and fall in love or do anything in that realm. And so there's a whole group of people that are vampires that are super mad about it, and they're no, we're gonna change this. And at the same time, there's a group of them that are we're gonna go into the human world so we can go do whatever we want, basically. But there's rules that you have to be at least 500 years old to go be a vampire in the human world. And the group that goes, they're only 300, so they're teenagers.
Okay.
And it's in the human world, they have to drink blood every 15 days for some reason, or they'll that's how they can walk in the sun. That's their reset.
Mm-hmm.
So
interesting.
There's a political side to it that I don't understand entirely, but I'm just kind of rolling with it. I'm it'll make sense or it won't. It's fine. I don't even care.
That's kind of how 1,000 years old was too, because I'm just a lot of these things are not explained, they'll never be explained, and I accept it.
Yeah, it is what it is. And you know what? I'm having a good time. I'd say the main couple, so it's Frank and Long Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say they're the focus as far as couples go, really. I love Long Lee.
What else are they in?
That's a good question.
Oh, it looks like Love Syndrome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've seen any shows where they're in, but they look familiar.
Yeah, I know they're talked about a fair bit. I don't know if it was because of this coming out, because I feel like Long Lee hasn't done anything in a while. Is that what it was? No, he has. He was in stuff last year. I don't know what I'm talking about. But, but yeah, it's Long Lee's facial structure reminds me a lot of Shane from 1,000 Years Old, which he's not the vampire in the show, so that's a twist for me.
Yeah.
Every time he's on screen, I'm you should be a vampire.
So people, people have iPhone face. Some people just have vampire face.
Yes.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
How are the vampires in the show vampire-y, or are they just people once they go to the people world?
So they're vampires.
Okay. There's biting and stuff.
Well, no.
Oh.
I don't wanna spoil anything because there's
Okay,
a
okay.
reason why not. It's fine. But
It's
it's
like
really
the
funny.
dentist shaved down their
No, it's
teeth
not that
too.
bad. So their fangs are retractable, right?
Okay.
And it's when they fight or, like, they go to fight, like, vampires go to fight, they just end up just, like, hissing at each other for a while.
Oh my god, have you seen What We Do in the Shadows?
No.
It's one of my top favorite movies of all time, like, top 3, but it's like a parody vampire movie,
Oh
doc
gosh.
mockumentary type thing. It's amazing, it's the funniest movie I've ever seen, but they do the same thing where they'll be like, "Vampire fight," and then either they're just, like, hissing at each other or they're just, like, flying aimlessly through the air. I don't know, it's really good,
That's
but
so funny.
but I'm a big fan of, like, really unserious vampire stuff and
I
serious vampire
Yeah,
stuff.
I really want a serious vampire one, so that's why I'm really hoping Revamped gives us that. But I'm
Right.
okay with this as well because it's been fun, it's been cute.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I would love to have, the balance, but yeah, that sounds, like, up my alley, I'll definitely watch
Yeah.
it.
Since it's only 8 episodes, it's been a pretty quick watch
Okay.
because I've been trying to watch Moonlight Chicken and I'm through
Mm,
where am I at? I think I'm on like part 4 of episode 7 or something like that.
okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. And I'm like, I can't make myself watch it. I'm like, it's too serious.
I think there's only 8 episodes of Moonlight Chicken as well, so you're, like, almost done.
Yeah, yeah, it's only 8, so I need to power through. I'm so close,
Mhm.
but we'll get there. It's just that the funeral scene kinda killed me, where I was like, "No,
Yeah.
I'm just sad." Um,
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's definitely more serious, like, grounded story, and sometimes it's not like, "Oh, fun, Moonlight Chicken. What a fun
yeah,
watch."
so I put that on pause and watched OMG Vampire, so maybe I'll finish OMG Vampire and then finish Moonlight Chicken, and then I can move on with my life.
And then you can finish We Are, and then you can
Yeah, so We Are has what, 1 episode left, I think? I think episode 15 aired yesterday? Or is it only
Yeah?
15 episodes?
It might only be 15.
It's 16, it's 16.
It's 16?
So, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Almost
next
there.
week is the last one.
Yeah, I still got a couple more to go on that one. I don't think I've gotten any farther.
Yeah, I haven't either. Seems like a lot of shows are starting to wrap up. So We Are is starting to
Mhm.
wrap up. Wandy Good Day either did or has their last episode coming up.
Ooh,
Um,
okay. I'm
yeah,
excited to start that one. I've been
yeah,
waiting.
I have 2. I think I might start that one next week.
Yeah.
Um, and then of course our beloved is ending tomorrow. Um,
Ah, my
so
stand-in. Oh my god.
yeah.
We were cracking up at how the last episode, if you listened, we were both like, yeah, like my stand-in's like perfect. There's no way with only 2 episodes left that they could mess it up.
Ju-
And we'll see. Episode 11 hit hard, so I'm
I'm
scared.
I'm so not happy about episode 11.
I'm not. I'm just like, they need to redeem it. Otherwise, it's gonna be extra bad.
I'm not even sure how they redeem it for me at this point. Just it's so off the book, like completely,
Hmm.
that I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what's the attempt, I guess?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
I mean, I would say like episode 1 through 10 was like perfection though. So if the last 2 episodes end poorly, I'm just gonna erase it from my brain and
right? It's
headcanon something new.
it's
Or I
last
read the novel and I'll just, mix and match the two.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's last Twilight all over again because a lot of people hated the last 2 episodes of
Mm,
that too.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I do kind of purposely forget about the last 2 episodes of the show.
I forget about it until I'm on Reddit and then I just see again where like people are just mad all over again and I'm like, "Oh, right. That was a thing that
Yeah.
happened."
I know, yeah, there's so many like good memorable moments in that show that it's at least because of that it is easy to forget about the lackluster
Mhm.
ending in my opinion.
Yeah. So, what's in the air with you, Shy?
So I have not been watching any Thai shows, any BLs or anything like that. But I have been watching The Circle. Have
Oh,
you seen that at all? It's like a Netflix show.
I have not.
Okay, basically it's kind of like a game show or like reality show. It's basically like a social media contest variety survival show. I don't know how to like explain it in like it's like an American show, but I only
Mhm.
know how to explain variety shows in like Korean terms. But basically like every season, I think they're I'm watching the newest season right now and I watched all the
Mhm.
other seasons as they came out, but I don't remember. Maybe season 5 or something they're on now. But they get like 8-ish people in and they all have like different rooms in a hotel. And the only way they can communicate is through like a social media app thing. So it's a contest. So people some come in as themselves and they present them, themselves as who they are on
Mhm.
their profile, and some people come in as like a complete catfish or something like that. And they've had like celebrities come in and like pretend to be just like a normal person or whatever. But basically they have to like through just a chat and like nothing else really, they have to like establish relationships and alliances, and then at the end of the episodes they rate everyone, and then typically like the top 2 people get to choose who to eliminate. And
Interesting.
there's like $100,000 on the line. But
Nice.
yeah, so it's actually really fun and interesting to watch. Cause like it's a really well produced show, and it's so interesting to see like the way that like people communicate when the only form of communication they have is like a text or like a social media type thing. And I love watching the catfish and like watching them either get away with it or just completely crashing and burning. And I love when 2 people have a conversation and one was like, that couldn't have gone better, and then the other person was like, I think they're a lying snake. So yeah. It's I highly recommend. It's like easy to watch, but you can get like really really into the competition, and it's like opposite Big Brother. It's like if Big Brother happened except they were all in different rooms, not together.
I was gonna say with the catfish thing, it reminds me of Big Brother, where somebody comes in and they like play dumb on who their like their background is, and they'll be like,
Mhm.
"In real life, I'm like this engineer, super smart, whatever," and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm like a librarian or something really random."
Yeah. When Frankie Grande was there and he was like, I'm actually Ariana Grande's sister, and everyone was like, we don't care. Or
Yeah.
her brother.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's kind of like that too, because some people they'll just like lie about one thing. Like they'll be like, oh, I'm actually a model, but I might seem more approachable if I tell people that I'm like a nurse. But then during the game, they'll get asked like a nurse question, and they'll not know the answer, and everyone will be like, oh, that was
Yeah.
questionable.
That's if you're gonna do that, you gotta pick like a career that you can answer questions on.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, there's one of like my favorite winners on one of the seasons. She was like a catfish as her husband, and she was like tested one time on like who are these football players, and she guessed correctly, and so everyone was like, "Oh, yep, like he is who he says he is," but it was actually just yeah, a catfish
Luck.
the whole time. Yeah, it was so impressive. I was like, "Wow, I
That's
love your ability to lie and deceive."
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I have quite a few flights coming up in the next couple months where I'm gonna have nothing better to do than stare at my phone. So I
Yeah,
was
yeah, definitely, like, even I think the first season is really iconic because of the contestants they have are all, like the casting was really good the first season, like, all the people are really memorable and, like, lovable, and the moments are really funny, and then but after the first season, like, they get really, like, cutthroat into the competition because people have watched the first season already and, like, know what to expect, so
Yeah, I was it's the first season that's always the best, especially lately. I feel like a lot of shows people have gone on just to go get like influencer credit,
Mhm. Oh,
right?
yeah.
So right, and that gets so frustrating. Like that's when I end up dropping a show when it looks like everybody's just on there to go like get influencer famous, and I'm like, I don't care about you anymore.
That's like the you're just here for the zip line.
Yep.
It's just like, you're just here for the Instagram followers.
Yeah, because that's like oh, what was the other Netflix show? The dating one.
Oh, there's Too Hot to Handle, there's Love is
Um, Love
Blind.
is Blind. I feel like a lot
Yeah.
of them ended up on there for like the attention as well and not to actually make connections. Like the first
Oh,
season
yeah.
was amazing. Like there was some drama, but it was fun. And then like I think by like the fourth season I was like I can't do this anymore. I was like all you guys are all clearly here just to go be Instagram famous in the end.
I know. Yeah, that's like I love watching like those, reality dating shows, whatever, but it definitely like there are people every season where like they're just like or it's like you either want just Instagram followers or you're just here on like a vacation. And I get
Yeah.
it. Like Too Hot to Handle especially, the show is so dumb, but
I haven't
I'm like,
watched that
"Hey,
one
I would
either.
all you have to do is just not have sex and then just hang out at the beach." And then everyone's like complaining the whole time and I'm like, "Guys, this would rock, honestly."
Yeah, because I was always an avid watcher of Big Brother too. That was my show. And,
Mhm.
like, I was on there with, like, the BB Updates Twitter account following what was happening when because they would follow the, like, live whatever after
Uh-huh.
hour stuff, and I'd be like, "Okay, what's happening?" Because Dr. Will was my hero when I was, like, 8. 'Cause
Yeah.
and then now, like, the last season I watched, it was people were, like, talking about, like, their Instagram handles and stuff like that, and I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
I know. Yeah, I think like Big Brother UK the last season was I watched some of that. It was pretty good, but yeah, I agree. It's, you know, kind of
The
takes
UK
away from the show.
Yeah, the UK version's so different from the American version.
Mhm. It
I
is.
I had a friend or, like, a coworker, he was like, "Have you watched the UK version?" I was like, "No, I have only watched the US version," and they, like, gave me, like, a flash drive with all of, like, the episodes from one season, they're like, "Watch this," and I was like, "This is so much rougher than our season."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I don't I couldn't handle either house, to be perfectly honest.
Mhm.
I'm not that manipulative, and I have no poker face, so"
Yeah, I think I'd be bad at You know what? I think I would over strategize. Like whenever I watch The Circle, I'm like, okay, how what would I do if I was in this? And I think I would just think and over strategize like literally everything. And I think some of the best players are the ones who like use their intuition.
Yeah, that's I my trust issues would be, like, immediately of, like, I don't trust anyone, I'm not gonna make any alliances, I'm gonna sit over here in this corner.
Yeah. Yeah, and the alliances are just like so important in that game. So,
Mhm. I'd be the one if I sit in this corner and nobody pays attention to me, they won't think to eliminate me.
yeah,
They'll forget
yeah,
I'm here.
that's true, yeah. But yeah, I think the whole season's out, but I haven't finished it yet, so
Yeah.
excited to see who wins.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. It's been a
Yeah.
while since I watched any kind of reality because all I've been watching is Ty BLs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that with 45-minute episodes, that does take up quite a lot of time.
Yeah, and then I fixate so bad on stuff.
Well, plus, like, didn't you say you sent me like a thing earlier today where it's like there's 15 Thai BLs airing right now or something, and I'm like, that's so many.
18 airing right now, and I'm like, "Oh, okay," and, like, I went through and there's, like, at least 10 of them that I could name where I'm like, "I wanna watch these." I was like
Mhm.
the other ones are, like, ones I don't know, and I don't think they were all Thai, I think it was just BLs in general, so I think some of those were, like, Taiwanese, and then I think
Mm.
Japanese was some because I was trying to figure out what all the 18 were, and I only found, I think, maybe, like, 13 of them by the end of it, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Uh,
Yeah. It's like a crazy amount to keep up with.
yeah, and then so many are starting to film because, Boy Next World just did a fitting earlier this week, so they're gonna start doing workshop and stuff soon, I think, so they'll start filming, and then Heart Killers starts filming next week, um,
Yeah.
and I forget what else is gonna start. So 4 Minute comes out in, like, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I'm
Did you see
so
the
excited.
trailer for that one?
The trailer looks so good.
It does.
I'm so excited.
I am
Um,
too.
I didn't realize that Jess Bible aren't gonna be a permanent couple.
Oh.
'Cause
I
Jess
didn't
isn't even part of, Beyond Cloud.
uh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. If this show's popular enough, they might, do another show together or something.
I'm not sure because Beyond Cloud just announced, some other upcoming shows. They have that like 2 GLs coming out, and then they have a sitcom starring Bible coming out, and they're looking to cast the his partner on there.
I see. Okay.
So
Well,
it's gonna be interesting seeing him in a sitcom because I feel like all the roles we've seen are pretty serious from him.
yeah, it's
So
gonna be like cognitive dissonance.
yeah, because Vegas is really serious. Like he had like a playful part to him occasionally, but
Mhm.
not sitcom.
Yeah.
And then the like mini movie whatever that he just did with Jess was pretty serious, I think. I haven't
Mhm.
watched it yet, and
I
then
haven't either.
4
I'm
minutes
scared.
looks
Everyone's like it's said it was like sad or something, so I'm like,
yeah, I vaguely know what happens and it's not great.
yeah. So I'm bad at watching sad things.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's only 20 minutes, but I'm like, I know I'm gonna cry. And so that's why I'm like, I haven't been in the mood to cry.
Yeah, I feel.
I think that might be what killed me on Moonlight Chicken, is it made me cry and I wasn't in the mood. But I can't look at Kowtown having like a meltdown, like, a justified one.
Mhm.
But like I couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess speaking of Couchung having meltdowns on screen,
Yes.
do we want to
Uh,
get into our continuation of OnlyFriends?
yes. I love this show.
I do too. So, where we left off, um, well, we left off on Nick having a meltdown.
Yeah, I just saw that in the notes. I was like, well.
There's a lot of meltdowns in this show. We're just beginning. But
Yeah.
Nick is having a meltdown because Boston basically dumped him because he found out that Nick had wiretapped him and Force hooking up. It's a whole mess. If you didn't
Yeah.
listen to the first episode, this is not gonna make sense at all. So
No. I have to say, Boston was, of all the flaws he has, he's very justified at being really mad at Nick right now.
that is completely fair, especially after he had like previously been the target of um sexual videos filmed without his consent and possibly being like posted
Mhm.
online. And so to have had that happen before and then to have someone who he trusted
Who knew
also
about it.
record
Yeah.
him without his consent, like, yeah, I understand. I mean, he's completely valid for
Yeah,
you know,
what he
cutting
was doing
ties with Nick.
sucked, but like, yeah, I also would never forgive Nick, just to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But I also like, listen, all these characters, I love them, and I love their rights, and I especially love their wrongs, and I do I not respect, but I get why Nick like did the wiretapping.
Yeah, like
He's
I
just
don't
like a
agree
little
with it.
sad and desperate.
Yeah, I don't agree with him doing it, but I understand his character.
Yeah. I feel like out of everyone on this show too, if I had to like cast myself as one of the characters, I would be Nick.
I don't know who I would be.
Yeah, I think like character-wise, I'm probably the most similar to him.
I want to say I'm probably the most similar to Sand, but
Mhm. That was the other one I was like,
yeah,
maybe, but
because like,
I'm not quite as like sensitive as he is, I don't think.
oh, I absolutely am. Like sad girl hours are like my 24/7. Like I live with my sad music in my little corner, and all I do is go to
Uh-huh.
concerts.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good fit then.
Yeah, I just
But
I would have also gone running away from Ray at that point. I'd have been like, "Oh, you're attractive, but also, oh, you're a whole lot of problem. Goodbye."
yeah, if it's kind of like if you're not if you're there to like, oh, I can fix him, then
Yeah,
you kind of need to be, I feel, to deal with Ray and
yeah,
all his issues.
yeah, and that's where I'm like, that is where I am not Sand. I'd have just been like,
Yeah,
"Goodbye."
not my job. Best of luck.
Yep, I'm gonna stay out of this whole mess, especially when you start seeing who else is like in this bubble with like Top and Boston and all them. I'm like,
Oh
I
god.
absolutely don't want any of this.
Yeah, rule of thumb, if you're dating someone and they're friends, suck and are awful, that's a red flag for the
Yeah.
person you're dating as well, typically.
Yeah,
So,
maybe reevaluate.
yeah. But unfortunately, he's in too deep. Nick is in too deep, and that's why this meltdown is happening. And
Yeah.
they're both sad because they are like Nick isn't Boston's first choice, and Sand isn't Ray's first choice.
Poor Sand.
I feel so bad. Sand like earns his sad boy hours.
He does.
And Mew is earning his crazy single era. I guess not really single, but his Joker era, we've been calling it.
Yeah.
Because he found out that his boyfriend hooked up with one of his friends, and he dumped his boyfriend, and yeah,
Justified.
yeah, very justified.
Like
And
cheating bad regardless, but then with it being Boston of all people, like, dude, Top, what are you doing?
yeah, I think that's like the worst part is like the double betrayal of having like your boyfriend, someone you trust, and then your friend who, you know,
Yeah. Like
another
they
person you
knew
care
he
about.
was around, but like it was one of those of like, okay, that's you do you, like it's whatever. But that was a line you don't cross.
I know. I almost feel like in a situation like that, the friend betrayal hurts more.
It would have hurt me more, for sure.
Yeah. Um just cuz like yeah, that's just like that's extra messed up, I feel.
Yeah.
So, I'm feeling quite bad from you at the moment.
Yeah. Which I would say that the friend betrayal I think did hurt him more than Top with how he
Yeah.
reacts.
Cuz he definitely like, and you know, we'll get to this later on, but
Yeah.
he doesn't forgive Boston.
Ever.
Like, yeah, and Top, you know, will come back to his life eventually. But yeah, I mean, once you like, if you're a friend and you like break someone's trust like that, I don't know. It's kind of like I would drop them for sure. And also
Yeah.
like, not that this makes it any better, but like him and Top have only been dating for like a little bit, you know,
Mhm.
and like he's known Boston like way longer than he's known Top. So
So to go into his Joker era, Mew goes to Nick and is like, how do I get revenge on Boston?
and can I
And
just say this is like my favorite episode of the whole show. I love a
um
revenge plot.
this this whole like situation of what happens next is such a mess. Um
It is. I love it though. I love the plan. It's stupid, but it's great.
yeah. And so I can't believe that Nick tells him anything though. Like I know
I
Nick was
know.
hurt, but like what is he doing? Cuz like Nick has a way of getting revenge, right? So Nick tells Mew about the recording that we had mentioned a little bit ago, where Boston had sex with somebody and that person recorded it to upload it because that's what they do. It's um and Boston doesn't want that recorded, right? Because his dad is some politician or something, and that would be like a big scandal. Um
Mhm.
and so Mew does the craziest thing I ever expected him to do. I remember watching this and my jaw just being like, "What?" Like on the
Me
ground.
too. Yeah.
'Cause Mew, like, goes to, like, a bar and, like, finds the guy and, like, seduces him to go home with the guy that recorded, Boston, and then gets the guy to go take a shower, which I think is hilarious.
Uh-huh.
And so that he can go on the computer and go find the video of Boston and steal it.
Yep.
And so
And it gets caught in the meantime,
he
but
does, but he still gets out with it, you know?
mhm.
And then he goes to Boston's house with it to go talk to Boston's dad. Like, oh my god.
It's wild.
Yeah, and he starts talking about, like, a short film that Boston did to his dad, and Boston's, like, walking in going, "What?"
Yeah, you just see his like face and demeanor change so quickly because at first he's like confused why Mew is there because
Mhm.
Mew is, you know, supposed to be furious at him, and then he starts talking about the short film, and you like Boston is just like goes pale. He's like, oh my god, like, what
Yeah.
are you doing?
And poor Boston's dad is just sitting here like, "Oh, I didn't know you made a movie, son. Why didn't you tell me anything?" It's, and Boston's like, "It's not. It's I need to edit." You know, he's like trying to like scramble for anything. And he's like, "I don't. It's not ready to be shown."
Uh-huh. Very smooth.
And thankfully, Boston gets Mew to like go talk in private and like beg for Mew not to show anything. And
Mhm.
Mew is kind enough to not show anything.
Yeah.
But oh god, what a
Yeah,
crazy moment.
I know, Boston's, like, on his knees, like, begging Mew, and yeah, he leaves the flash drive too with
Mhm.
Boston, like, he takes the high road 100%, he's like, "I don't wanna stoop to your level," and, like, leaves the USB behind, but, a big part of me was like, I wish he would have done something more, you know?
Yeah, dragged it out
But
maybe a little longer, like held on to it as like
mhm,
leave me alone type of a thing. Instead of like,
yeah,
here, here you
here you
go.
go. Hope you learn your lesson, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, Mew is too, like, well-adjusted, I feel. Like, during this whole era, like, he does a lot of, a few messed up things, but at the end of the day, I feel like he could have spiraled so much worse. Or, like, at least I probably would have spiraled a lot worse if I was him, so it makes sense in character why he didn't, you know, get
Yeah.
revenge beyond just, like, putting Boston in his place, but I did kind of want to see it.
Ray would have shown it. Ray wouldn't have had any build up. He'd have just emailed the file to Boston's dad and been like, "Here you go. Here's the movie you needed to see." It's just
100%, yes. Yeah.
honestly, role reversal. Boston would have done the same thing. I think he would have just been like, "Yeah, here's the video."
Yeah. I don't even know if, like, Boston I feel like Boston just cares about himself, so I don't even know if he would have gone through the trouble to, like, do all of that,
He
you
wouldn't have
know?
gone through the trouble to get it, but if he had
Mhm.
it, I
Yeah.
think he would have just been like, "Yeah, I'll show it to whoever. I don't care."
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Mew, the most sane of the friend group, which with what happens after this is not saying much for the group. Eh,
Yeah.
Chum is the most sane of the group,
She
but
is.
yeah,
She's the rock of the group,
yeah. As far as
definitely.
as far as the guys go, Mew is the most level-headed, but
Uh-huh.
that's not saying much.
No, it's a low bar.
Yeah.
And so this is like another day, but they're all at the hostel and they decide, and Boston is there as well, but they're kind of talking about how they need to finish this project and work together and finish the hostel and put, like, they're like, we're gonna put personal problems aside and we're gonna be, like, civil for the sake of, like, not crashing and burning our entire, like, business adventure.
Yeah, because they have to finish this at least through to get with their school project.
Hmm.
So,
And they've put, like, especially Ray's dad has put, like, invested, like, a lot of money into it too, which is the other main thing where they can't just abandon the project because it's, a waste of
mhm.
money. So they're discussing this, and first of all, I think that's like a really realistic, like, where they're always like, don't date your coworkers and
Yes.
stuff like that. Like,
I can
yeah.
confirm you should not date a classmate that
Yeah.
isn't directly like within your major and involved in anything.
Oh God, from
'Cause-
experience.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
'Cause-
good advice. It no, like, it'll always happen and stuff, but it will make a mess probably. And then yeah, so during this meeting where they're, deciding to still work together, Top shows up and he's got a present for Mew, but everyone's just like, the fuck, dude, like, leave. And a fight breaks out because they're trying to get him to leave, and it's, all of them are there, like, Boston's there, Mew's there, Top's there. And I think Ray starts swinging first,
yeah.
and Mew's trying to break it up, so he ends up in the middle of the fight, and he gets punched by Top on accident. And
Top
yeah,
looks so horrified.
He does. I mean, he didn't mean to at all.
No.
Like, I mean, he's probably just like, wow, I literally could not have made this worse, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's there to, like, apologize and, I don't know, bring a gift for, Mew. Which, first of all, why? First of all, why? You
Yeah.
know? Like, why show up? Like, this is me being a top anti again, but it's like, it's almost like he would have known that would have caused issues if he walked into, like, literally all of them and was, like, publicly, in front of everyone was like, here, forgive me.
To to
Yeah.
defend Top, I don't know that he had an option of any other way of getting to Mew, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about bringing a gift doing anything because Mew's not really superficial in that way, right? Like
Yeah.
I think for him it's definitely more like emotion and like and connection than physical anything.
Mhm.
So like like and by physical I mean like a gift of any sort. Like so I don't know what that would have been about. I think groveling is about the only thing that would have worked.
Yeah. I think, yeah, because for Top, probably, like, he's a little bit more, into the finer things and he's rich and stuff. So that's probably how he's, like, in
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
past, like, used to winning people over.
he's definitely got to learn how to interact with Mew basically, and that's what he'd been doing over time already, but he wasn't quite there.
Yeah. So
But
this was not the way to go.
no. And I don't know that he was expecting everybody to be there, so that didn't help
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, that was probably just unfortunate luck that, like,
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
all there. But this is okay, my favorite scene of the whole show is while all the dudes are just, like, punching each other. Shum's just on the side and she's yelling at them to stop and they won't. And so what she does is she gets the garden hose, turns it on, and it's just spraying people with the garden hose as if that will do anything, and it doesn't. But I love
I
her.
it makes sense to me.
It
'Cause
does.
I'm
Honestly, it makes sense to me too, because, like, I'm not getting in that.
no, because you're gonna get punched like Mew did.
Yeah. But yeah, at least she does something other than just, like, sitting on the side and, like, yelling at them. But I just love the scene where they're just, like, physically, like, brawling it out, and then she's just, like, spraying them with, like, the jet setting on the garden hose.
Yeah, I think I'd have just let them fight it out. Been like, boys are gonna be stupid, so I'm gonna let you be stupid, and I'm just gonna sit here.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna stay out of that mess.
Yeah. I would
Cause
like to as well.
yeah, because she and April were catching strays already from them. So
Yeah, they really were. Yeah. They're all just, like, all so Ray, Mew, and Shum are still friends, but so it's, like, just Boston pretty much who is on the outs with the group. But
yeah,
they've all forgiven the other three have, like, forgiven Ray for his outburst at Mew's birthday party and all that. And even I think Shim's like, oh, like, she's like, wow, I like was so mad at Ray, but then it turns out he was right, and now I feel, like, really bad that I was, like, angry with him.
yeah. Like it ended up for the better because she was able to like talk it out with April, and I think they got closer. So
Yeah.
like not the best approach, but at least had good results as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And then
Now April
and
can continue on with her short films and be secure about it.
yeah. So what happens next makes me so mad, and
Um,
this is why I'm a Mew auntie. Um,
mhm,
so Ray does what Ray does best, and it's take care of Mew after he got punched by Top, because Top leaves after that.
mhm.
Top's like, maybe I don't need to be here, and so and somehow Mew decides maybe I should date Ray after all, right? So
Yeah,
I'm so mad about this.
I understand it though. As a Mew defender, I as like as Ray is taking care of Mew, they have, like, a little conversation where Mew's like, "Oh, but you're like, you have always been the one to take care of me. Like, you've always been by my side. Like, maybe this is what I should be looking for." Like, I think he's, like, more confused than anything at this moment. Later on, I do think it kind of turns into something else, but Like,
Yeah.
in this
It's
moment, I mean, he's hurt, he's emotionally hurt, he's physically hurt because he just got punched by his ex-boyfriend who cheated on him with his close friend, you know? And so I think there's just a lot going on. He's like, there's one person who loves and cares about me, and that's Ray, and Ray wants to date, and maybe I should take him up on
yeah.
that.
So that's where like in the beginning part, like here where they start this, like I'm like, okay, maybe. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe, right. It's a little reboundy, but it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I also at this point I'm so about Sand and Ray together that I'm already like, Mew, please go the fuck away.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I agree. I
so
will say I do really like watching the actors like kiss a bunch of people.
yes.
Like obviously I like, Sand and Ray together, but to see like Cowtongue and Book like kiss, I'm like, ooh, this is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those like I get it, and like the acting on all this, and like the script, like I love the drama, but it's one of those that just it really just makes me mad.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so Mew and Ray start to become a thing. They take it pretty slow though, like they're not like full
Mhm.
on like we're boyfriend. I think they're just like let's see where this goes for a little bit. Um,
Mhm.
but of course that means Sans out in no man's land as far as this goes.
Yeah. And by no man's land, he's in the corner of the bar watching
Yes,
them dance together.
yes, they're like partying, and it's
He's do you know the song Dancing on My Own by Robin?
yes.
He's like, I'm in the corner. Yeah. And Shum's concerned because since Mew and Ray have been seeing each other, they've been drinking and partying a lot, and Mew, as we've mentioned previously, like doesn't drink or party or do any of that stuff. So
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, I don't think this relationship is healthy. I think Ray's a
It's
bad
not.
influence.
He is.
Yeah. Yeah, Ray's kind of just like, allowing him to express like Mew to express himself like unhealthily to try to get over this breakup, and yeah, it's not the
Yeah.
best way to go about it.
No. So on the side, then Yo, who was the bar owner, and her boyfriend Plug are fighting, and then Plug like wants to be serious, and there's some drama and some hurt, and they like break up, right?
Mhm.
Ah, broke my heart. She was
I
so upset.
know. Yeah, and because Yost has like a lot of like self-esteem issues from being hurt in the past, so she's like afraid to get serious, but and Plug doesn't really understand that, and he's like,
Uh-huh.
like we love each other. Why can't like I don't understand why, we can't just like I don't know, like get married or, whatever, but
Yeah. I
technically.
definitely see both sides, but it's one of those I'm like, it's just go get some therapy and communicate with each other,
Yeah,
please.
that's all you need. And
Right? Like,
I really like Yo. Like there's one great scene where she's like kicking someone out of the bar for like being, I don't know, like homophobic or something. I don't remember what they were
yeah.
doing. They're just being like a bigot. But it's like so she's got some like really great scenes in there where she's like really being cool and badass. So it
Hmm.
sucks seeing her really like hurt.
Yeah. And then Sand and Ray have a moment where they get to talk, and Ray is like, "Let's be friends," and Sand's just like, "Uh, not really."
Yeah, it's
Just
like it's a strange conversation because you can tell that Ray doesn't want to let him go completely.
yeah.
And so I think his way to like hang on to Sand is to like, oh, like we can still be friends, whatever. But Sand, I
Sand's
think, kind of wants to just like break it off completely because he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get like so much more hurt if we continue being in communication.
yeah, which so real for that. Like I would
Hmm.
have to do the same thing. I'm like at that point if my feelings are that committed and you've done this to me and clearly made it where I'm your second pick, um I have to completely remove myself from the situation.
Yeah, and it's not like Ray was doing anything wrong because they weren't
No.
like, they weren't like a thing officially at all. But it really really sucks for Sand.
Yeah, it's Ray was very, I'd say, very committed to Sand until Mew gave him 5 seconds of attention. Um,
Yeah. Like he was doing really well at like moving on
yeah,
until the Mew thing happened. And I think maybe Sand feels partially responsible because he's the one who sent the evidence to
Mhm.
Ray, and so like he probably kind of saw it coming or whatever. But
Yeah. This
yeah,
conversation that they have, this is the one where they're standing like outside the bar and Sand's like, guess you get your moment with the rain or with Mew now, right? Like that's the one where he was just like super sad.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's got
Oh
these
God.
sad eyes.
It reminds me of like that scene of like I think it was like Tobey Maguire as like Spider-Man just standing in the rain looking really sad.
It is. I'm pretty sure that in the behind the scenes of this episode, or I was following like Jojo, the director, as the episodes were airing, and I think he tweeted like I had to keep telling First to like not cry during the scene.
Oh.
Yeah, or something. I was like, oh no. I mean, he looks like he's about to cry, but yeah.
Yeah. He's very upset, you can tell, where he's just like, congrats that you finally got Mew. Yay. I
Yay!
guess.
Fuck my life.
Yeah. Uh, I feel
And
so bad for
then,
Sand.
yeah, I do too. I so many people in this show are like done so dirty all the time.
Hmm.
And Nick starts an internship. It seems random, but um at least he's like, not having a meltdown over Boston anymore, and he gets an
Yeah.
internship.
Yeah, it gives him something to focus on, and like, because the internship is like with a senior from like his major from college, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
something like that.
it's like alumni or something like that. They're from the same like department, whatever they call it. Um,
Yeah.
then with my rewatch when we were going through to make our notes for this, and I realized that it was the guy from the other show. What was it?
Oh,
The
not
off
me.
gun? Yeah, not me.
Yeah,
And I just
yeah.
sat there and I went, "Oh, this is so weird now." I was like, I forgot because he was my favorite in that show.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
not
he's like plays such like a small support role, but he's great.
I just so and not me. It's off gun as the pairing and Gun plays like twins. And he like
Mhm.
it's one of those where they like swap places and spoiler for not me, but like this character like just knows that they switch the entire time and just rolls with it and doesn't tell anybody else. And I just think that's so funny. And
Yeah,
so
that is funny.
in the rewatch for our notes, and I saw that's all I could think about while he was like on screen with Nick, and I was like, mm.
Is I don't is Mark in that show? Not me. I don't remember. I don't think he
I
is.
don't think so.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of only friends actors in that show, so I wasn't sure if he was there too, but that would be funny.
I mean, I feel like he was in everything for a while there, but I don't
Yeah. I don't
I
think he was in Not Me.
no. No, because yeah, because first is in Not Me, and then his name is Papang, who plays the senior for Nick here. He was in that. Mond was in that, who is coming up eventually here in Only Friends, and then Look Jun, who plays Chum, was in Not Me. So yeah, definitely a lot of overlap.
Mhm.
But yeah, the internship thing was kind of a weird arc.
It's definitely a weird arc. Like it starts normal and then like, his relationship with his senior is like a little strange, but
Yeah.
whatever. Whatever Mark wants to do, I support him
Hmm.
for Nick, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Mark too. I
Both.
support. But then we get to the second big party of the show. This is the Halloween party. Ooh.
This is where I became a Mew auntie.
Yeah, that's so fair. This is Mew's messiest episode by far.
Yes.
Um, this is, I mean, not that Mew has like a rock bottom, but this is like kind of it. This is Ray's rock bottom for
Yeah,
sure.
this is
But
Ray's rock bottom, but I will say for the story, I think this is Mew's also his rock bottom.
it
Um,
is. So I love Halloween parties. I want to go over who they're all dressed as. I did not fact check any of this, so some of them I'm just like guessing. But so Mew is Harley Quinn and Ray is the Joker, which I think is so funny because we've been calling it the Mew Joker era, but it's really the Mew Harley Quinn era.
Yes.
So they have their little couple costume, and then Sand is Freddie Mercury, which is perfect for him.
Yeah, he looked so good in the Freddie Mercury fit.
He does. It suits him like perfectly. And then Top is like the guy from Top Gun, which is funny. He's just like very G.I. Joe looking, so
Mm-hmm.
suits him as well. Shum is Wednesday from Adam's Family. Nick is like a nerd or something. I couldn't really figure out what he was. He just looks like a nerd.
Yeah.
Or like Bill Nye or something. And Boston, he's just wearing a red leather jacket. I'm not too
Yeah.
sure. They're probably both dressed up as someone specific, but I couldn't tell. So
Yeah. I'm not sure either. But yeah, no, the Harley Quinn Joker thing was um was
yeah,
a thing. It was fun.
it was
Oh.
fun. Mia's got on like the Daddy's Little Monster shirt, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, I mean, I very fitting for where he's at in life at that moment, to be honest.
It is. Yeah, because at the party, Mew and Ray, and this is at the hostel again, but Mew and Ray, they're drinking, they're like doing drugs, like they're doing like cocaine and stuff,
Yeah.
and Mew's kind of just off the deep end.
Yeah,
He's
this is
out
a
of his
normal
depth
party for
here.
Ray.
Yeah, yeah. For Ray, this is just like this is very like comfortable for him, but
Yeah.
for Mew, he's everyone. I think is kind of just like, oh god, like he's this
Yeah.
isn't good. And Top shows up because Shum invited him because Shum she doesn't like Ray's influence on Mew, so she
Valid.
invited which is valid. So this is kind of like this is a little sneak, but she invited Top to try to because she thinks Top would be a better influence on Mew and looks after him better. So that was her thought process on that, but obviously everyone else is pissed. Mostly Ray and Mew are pissed that Top is there.
Mm-hmm.
And Mew throws a drink in his face, which is valid, but then he makes out with Ray in front of Top, in front of everyone. Which the problem with this is that like it becomes pretty clear that he only gives Ray like physical affection as like very performatively.
Yes. It's literally just to make Top mad.
Yeah, like in private and stuff, like he doesn't like earlier in the party. I think Ray tries to kiss him, and he just kind of dodges
Yeah.
it and stuff. And it's at this point, it's kind of like okay, he's like literally only doing it to make Top jealous,
Mm-hmm.
which it kind of sucks for Ray.
Yeah, and this is why I'm mad at Mew.
Okay, but this is why I'm a little less mad at Mew because Freddie Mercury Sand tries to make out with another Freddie Mercury. And Ray steps in and he's all possessive over Sand. He's like, this is my man, whatever. Like, he's clearly still very into Sand and he's flirting with Sand and he's trying to get a threesome out of it again, of course.
Ray and his threesomes.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, yeah, I feel bad for him because I mean Mew is like kind of being manipulative towards Ray, but also like Ray is slightly emotion like he's like into someone else as well. Like he's not being like 100% faithful to him. So it's kind of like they're both doing two slightly bad things, which I feel like kind of cancel out at the end, but
my problem though with that is Ray shouldn't be like trying to get back with Sand, whatever, while he's got like Mew, whatever. But like he's not using Mew in the process, right? Like he's got to work through some feelings that he doesn't realize he needs to work through. Whereas Mew is just straight up abusing a friendship.
That is true.
And that is my problem, where one of those lines is a little worse than the other one.
Yeah, I agree.
Ray, absolutely problematic, and I am absolutely biased. I will fully admit that. But I just when you're taking advantage of a friendship, knowing that the other party has feelings for you, whereas Ray just doesn't realize that he has moved on from Mew, and he's like, "Oh, I finally got the guy I've been pining after for like 3 years." Um,
Yep. Yeah, so it's both it's like tricky situation,
yeah,
but yeah, it's definitely messed up like the kind of manipulation that Mew is doing to Ray.
yeah, and Sand opts not to go with Ray anywhere, and gets
Mhm.
annoyed that other Freddie Mercury has walked away.
Yeah. Oh my god, like Ray keeps ruining Sand's hookups by keeping like he keeps propositioning threesomes. Like someone give this poor man a threesome. And Shum's younger brother is there and Boston is there. No one's I don't think anyone's really invited Boston, but he's there. I guess I mean he's still a part of the hostel. But Shum's younger brother starts to hit on Boston, which is interesting because we've met him in the past, but he's had a girlfriend that he was kind of fighting with, and I guess I don't know if they broke up yet, but I think they broke up, and he's been like a straight character until now, until he
Hmm.
starts hitting on Boston, and Boston's like, I don't know, you're my friend's younger brother, and I'm already like on their shit list, so I don't really think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Which is crazy for Boston, but that doesn't last long, so I'm not
Yeah.
giving him any props.
He held out for 5 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, for him, I guess that's the longest I've seen him restrain anything.
Yeah. So things go very, very wrong right after this, though,
Mhm.
because the cops show up and drugs are bad. Um, and so everyone kind of knows that Ray's like upstairs somewhere, like high out of his mind.
Mhm. He's
And
like
so,
I think he's like passed out or something. Like
yeah,
Mew as well is passed out. Like yeah, Mew's taken it too far. He's like sick, and I think Top kind of put him to bed somewhere in the house. But
yeah.
yeah, Ray
So,
is like passed out upstairs with drugs, which the cops
yes.
come and are looking for.
Yeah, so Sand is like immediately like, I have to go save Ray because that is what Sand does. Um
I think that is.
and so he goes to get Ray, and of course Ray's got like bags of Coke with him, and there's like Coke I think on the table and everything. Disaster,
Mhm.
right? So Sand's like trying to like scramble and get Ray like awake. And as they're like trying to walk out of the room, the cops find them, of course.
Mhm.
And then Top becomes the hero somehow. 'Cause he
Yeah.
bribes the police.
Woohoo!
So
Bribery.
thank God for rich people, right?
Yeah, but it's good because like Ray tries to run and the police like tackle him and he's like
Yeah,
it's like an actual like physical struggle. Like Ray's in a lot of trouble and he's also on a short leash because he just got a DUI. So
yeah.
he's like going to
So
prison essentially if
y-
Top didn't do that bribe.
yeah, and I think that's like Sand knew that, and that was a part of why Sand was like, I have to help.
Yeah. And I think this is yeah, Top does this as like a redemption thing because he's like, you know
Hmm.
what, one thing I can do for Mew is keep his best friend out of prison. So good thing the police are corrupt because that could have ended pretty poorly. And that would have
Yeah,
probably gotten their whole hostel shut down, I think.
yeah. So
So yeah, so people are upset at the whole situation. They're Shum especially is upset because she feels like she's the only one taking the hostel seriously and she thinks all her friends only care about themselves, which is kind of true, but also like your one friend is like an alcoholic drug addict. Like he's not doing it to be selfish. He's just like seriously needs help, you know?
yeah,
And it's like getting mad at him because of that. I understand the frustration, but it's like, you know,
yeah,
he needs like serious help, you know?
yeah. Maybe get him into rehab and then be mad at him after. Um,
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I do
yeah,
understand. I mean, like, you know,
yeah.
Boston doesn't care. Muse
Off the deep end.
off the deep end. Yeah, he's the
Yeah,
only other one who would be helping anyway, and yeah. So
yeah.
I understand her like frustration.
I would be frustrated too at that point because it was like at least she had like Mew at that point because through Mew, Top was also helping. Well, actually, it started through Boston, but then it was through Mew. But
Mhm.
and so it was like, okay, Ray was really only there to be the money because he was supplying the building. He
Yeah.
didn't do much else besides party anyway. But
Yeah, they're just like, "Okay, Ray, all you have to do is not, like, do something crazy and get
yeah,
in legal trouble," and then that's kinda what he does, so
yep.
yeah,
So
so that's kinda the party ends there. I mean, everyone goes home, no one
yeah,
feels good after that, event.
yeah, and then
Except Boston, of course, he's always
ugh,
feeling good. He leaves with Shu's brother. His name's Adam, just for reference. And they hook up. So Boston gives in. Like, I think Adam again is like, I don't know, trying to, it's like being suggestive towards him, and Boston's like, okay, fuck it.
yeah, dumbest dumb out of everything that Boston's done. This is the dumbest.
Somehow that is true.
Like, okay, first it's your friend's boyfriend because you have some weird claim to him that you think you have. But
hmm
but now it's your other friend's little brother. Like that's a line.
Yeah,
That's a pretty strong line to step over.
yeah. It's
Especially
especially like when, you've just done all this stuff and pissed everyone off and like, okay.
yeah, and like it's not like Boston has a hard time finding people to sleep with, right? Like
Mm-mm.
he's had plenty of willing people. He doesn't have to go after Adam. He doesn't Adam's going after him, to be
Yeah.
honest, which is also a disaster. Like child.
Yeah. Yeah, Adam, anyone else, like, honestly.
Right? Like
But
anybody.
yeah, I think Adam just is looking for someone, like, easy to experiment with,
Yeah.
and Boston is there. So so that's the end of that horrific Halloween party.
Yeah. That was a lot. That was too much.
Yeah, that's definitely, like, the most, like, chaotic
Yeah.
episode, possibly, other than maybe the last episode, but
The I love the last episode.
I do too. It's so bizarre. I'm like, I'm here for it.
Yes. So,
But yeah, back to angst.
yeah. Ray Ray then has to go find Sand at school, right? Yeah, they're at
Yeah, this is
school.
like the one scene where they're like at school
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, because it's again, I always forget that Sand is a student. Um,
I do too.
and but yeah, so he's in a music room and Ray finds him and he's like, I can't give up on Sand, right? Which same. Um,
Mhm.
thank you, Ray. Thank you for figuring that out.
Yeah,
Um,
right. Finally.
so they have like a angry like makeout session, right? Like it was very angsty, but like it wasn't like a hate hookup, but it was kind of in that direction.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like Sand is like angry with Ray, and I don't know.
Ray's
Ray's
just
feeling a
Ray.
lot of emotion, so yeah, it's very
Yeah.
angsty.
And so they make out, right? And things are still kind of unclear between Ray and Mew at this point. So
Mhm.
Top, of course, happens to see. I don't know why he happens to see, but for the plot,
Convenience. Yeah.
for the plot, he's there and he sees it, and so he records them making.
Yeah, he like walks in with like his phone up
Yeah, like
and
super
interrupts
obvious.
them. Yeah, and he's like, "You're no better than I am, like than me."
And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then that's like when the scene ends, right? And then that's just
Mhm.
done, right? Which is a little odd
Yeah,
because
that's just like a one-off. The scene just exists because Ray and Sander are hot, and
yeah, and we need Top to have blackmail.
yeah, yeah. That's the one thing we need in the show is more blackmail. And then so at home, Ray and Mew are making out, and like Mew stops it before they get any further, and Ray is upset because this keeps happening. They haven't slept together or anything, but it's because Mew is just like he's not really interested in it, and I think Ray is also maybe realizing that he would rather be doing this with Sand, so It's kind of just like very like lackluster for both of them.
Yeah. I'm glad that Ray's finally coming to his senses a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, that's like I don't know. Their like romantic relationship is kind of like fizzling out
Thank God.
for the best, yeah.
Yeah.
And Adam, who's Jim's brother, he's upset with Boston because they hooked up and now Boston's ignoring him. And he was like, "Hey, that's like really cruel. It was like my first time ever with a guy, and like, I didn't want you to just like hit it and quit it." I guess he didn't really know. I don't know.
Yeah.
He thought he was
I
different or something. Maybe I'm not sure.
yeah, I'm not sure what he was expecting out of that because
Me neither.
Boston had a pretty solid reputation. Um,
Yeah, and I guess I don't know. Adam just after that became kind of attached, so
yeah.
he's like, you know,
Yeah.
Boston's like, I have no obligation to like. He's like, I think Boston's kind of annoyed that Adam is annoyed, and so he's just like doubling down now, like, get away.
Yeah. And it's one of those because it's like so Adam is of legal age, but he is much younger, so there's a maturity difference there, I think. Um and
Yeah.
that's where it is. So it's that like barely legal, and then this is like his first time with a guy, and I just got really infatuated. I
Hmm.
think.
Yeah. Or
So
maybe too, I don't know if he had like feelings or like a crush on Boston. That's not really explained, but that possibly could be another reason why he was so like immediately devastated that Boston was ignoring him after.
yeah, I definitely think he did have a crush.
I think so too.
I think he spotted him beforehand because of, being friends with Chum. But
Yeah. Yeah, so that's happening. And Sand and Nick take a little sad loser trip. Me
I love their trip together.
too. I love their friendship so much. They basically just like go and stay in the countryside in like a little camper. Like they're just like kind of camping.
Yeah.
And they're so cute and they're just they're just being sad losers together. And
Mhm.
they this part is so freaking funny. They so they're sitting like in bed together and they're like, should we hook up, like, question mark, and so they kiss, and then me watching this for the first time, I was like, what the fuck, like,
Yes.
seriously, like, what? This is happening right now. But then like a couple seconds later they break apart and they just start like cracking up and they're just like, no, absolutely not. um
Oh.
it's
I
so funny.
I love that they could kiss like that because it was a nice kiss, right? And then to
Mhm.
just be like, "No, we're just friends. It's fine." And like, it wasn't awkward at all after that. It was just like, okay.
No, yeah, they thought it was like hilarious. And once again, I just like seeing all these actors kiss random people like outside of the normal person they kiss. So
I've
I
seen
was
like
like, ooh.
I've seen a chart of like how many people First has kissed. He's kissed pretty much everybody at GMM. Um,
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, he's been in a
yeah,
lot of shows.
he has, and he's kissed a lot of people in the process. I will say so. Watching Moonlight Chicken, where he
Hmm.
kisses Mix, freaked me out.
Yeah,
I just
that's fair.
I didn't know that they would be together for any part of the show, so it just caught me so off guard. Where I was like, "What is happening right now?"
I feel like the order of shows I've seen first in, I saw him in Not Me first, where he's a
Oh,
side character in his little side romance. And then I
yeah.
saw him in Moonlight Chicken, and then I saw the Only Friends and then The Eclipse. So I wasn't like as freaked out because I didn't like know him that well then, but
I, I
yeah,
did
it's quite an
almost the
interesting
reverse.
pairing.
Yeah, because so I saw Only Friends first, and then I went to the Eclipse, and then Not Me, and then Moonlight Chicken. And I was just like, whoa. I was like, okay, because like Earth Mix and like First and Kao Tung are like really good friends, right? Like they're the introverts of GMM.
Hmm.
So they're always together anyway. And I'm like, this is like, are both of these pairings okay with this? See?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting pairing.
Yeah, but
Um,
it's really funny how many people that First has kissed though.
it
Like
is, yeah. I Yeah, I would like to see that chart.
So, while they're Saint and Nick are on this trip, Ray like calls Sand and is like, "Hey, let's hang out." Basically, and Sand's like, "I'm not here. Like, go away."
Yeah. I'm like, "I'm sick of your shit, like, you're
Yeah,
stringing me along."
yeah. But Nick, of course, posts a photo on Instagram and like tags the location they're at, like a Dumbo. And so Ray sees it and drives for like hours, like to get there, and just shows up. And he's so funny.
He's so, like, nonchalant about it, he just, like, bounds in, he's like, "Hey, guys, like, scoot over, I'm laying in the bed with you." And
Yeah,
they're
because
like,
they're
"How the fuck
already
did you get here?"
yeah, because they're already like asleep, and so he squeezes in between them and is like just on top of Sand and is like, "We're gonna cuddle now," and then again offers up a threesome.
And this time it's like a joke,
Yeah.
but it is funny that this is his 3rd time he's tried to have a threesome in the show, and I've kept track. Um,
It's not gonna be his last time to
it's
offer it.
yeah, spoiler alert.
And so, yeah, Nick was definitely like, "Well, third wheel time."
Yeah. And there goes our sad loser trip doesn't work when you have, like, a boy now who's, that kinda you're not sad anymore, like, this is the reason you were sad, and now the problem's, like, kinda fixed, so.
Yeah. I mean, have at this point, have Ray and Mew figured out that they're not together?
Not yet. That is,
Is that coming?
it's pretty coming up pretty soon, though.
Okay.
But, yeah, because in the meantime, Mew goes shopping and with his mom and his, like, aunt and, Top shows up and, like, goes with them.
It was
And
his mom's, plural.
oh, both of his moms?
Yeah.
Oh! Did
Yeah.
they Oh my god. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. I was
Yeah.
like I
That's
kinda skipped this scene because they were just, like, walking around, and I was
yeah,
like, "Okay."
it was always moms. He has 2 moms.
That makes so much sense why Mew is the most, like, emotionally adjusted person in this group if he has 2 moms. Okay, that's cute. I feel like did they say that explicitly in the show or
I'm pretty sure they do.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I completely forgot about that,
I
but
think
yeah.
because there's one point, I think when, like, Mew's asleep in his, like, apartment and they show up, I think is when they explain that.
Oh, okay.
They're like, "We
Yeah,
tried calling you because I think I was when he was sad about Topo or something.
mm. Yeah, this whole scene I didn't write down too much because I was just
Yeah.
like, I don't really care what happens, but it's basically just, like, Top trying to win back Mew and be a good boyfriend and prove himself to Mew's parents, so his parents approve of him.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, you know, they're and, like, Mew is kind of, like, letting him, so
Yeah. Yeah, the cracks are starting to form in his anger. Um
mhm, yeah. And Nick is sick of third wheeling, so he leaves the trip early, and him and his internship daddy, quotations, they start to have a thing. So they, like, go to YOLO, and, um, it's very flirty, and they're dancing and stuff, and which is good because it seems like he's getting over Boston, especially when he goes to the bathroom and he runs directly into Boston, and he's just, like, completely over him, it seems like, he's
Yeah.
very, like, polite and, happy, and he goes back to the internship guy, and Boston's doesn't like this. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't really like the fact that Nick isn't pining over him anymore, even though Boston was the one that dumped him, but that's just how Boston works, so.
Yeah. Boston, this is, like, the first signs where you see that Boston's like, "Maybe I can commit." Like, that's,
Yeah.
like, the first sign of that being a possibility. Like, he's definitely not close to that thought process at all, but that's, like, a hint of, he actually has feelings for Nick, and it's not just a hit it and quit it." Um
Yeah. Even though Boston's, like, literally in the bathroom, like, with someone else, and,
Yeah.
you know.
He still wants his sex, it's just emotionally a little attached to Nick.
Yeah, I do think, like, probably definitely out of everyone, Nick was his most, like, the closest
Mhm.
relationship he had to any of his friends with benefits or hookups
Yeah.
and all that, so
Yeah, which I think was at least partially because just Nick just wouldn't go away.
yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And Nick wasn't, like, casual about it either, he was very clear in his feelings.
Yeah. It's just Ray and Sand on the camping trip now, and so they have sex, and you can tell that Ray's it's very, like, emotional and romantic, I guess. Or it's just very, like,
It's a
intimate.
intense. Yeah,
Yeah. And so you can kinda tell that he's figured his feelings out finally, and he's kinda, like, made his choice.
it's about time.
It's about time, yeah, and, like, good for them. I just want nothing but the best for these 2.
Yeah. Stan's been put through the ringer by Ray at this point.
He deserves just, like, happily ever after,
Yep.
which won't quite happen yet, but, at least Ray has his,
Yeah,
his, feelings figured out, so,
yeah, he's picked finally. Um,
yeah, that's the first step. And, after this, Mew and Ray finally have a chat, and they pretty mutually break things off.
yeah,
They kinda just discuss, like, Mew's like, "Hey, you know that, like, you know, what you did to me is, like, no better than, like, what Top did, really, like, you're seeing me and sleeping with someone else," and Ray's like, "Yeah," and then Mew's also like, "But I was, like, leading you on, and that wasn't cool of me either, and I think I'm gonna give Top another chance," type thing, and so they're on good terms, and at the end, they laugh a little, and they make a joke where they're just like, "Oh, good thing we didn't sleep together, that would've made it way more awkward."
yes.
Yeah. So they're good, and I'm really happy with that outcome.
Yeah,
Like I think it's very realistic. Like they could have done the show could have done something just for the drama of it, but
mhm.
having things fizzle out this way, I think is a good scenario for both characters.
Yeah, I think it's the only way to keep the friendship, right? Is to
Yeah,
not make it worse than this.
I
Because
think so too.
if it had gotten any worse than that, or if like Mew had decided to actually commit to like Ray and Ray's like flipping between Mew and Sand, I don't think they would have come back from that either.
No,
So
and it's good that it was pretty short lived
yeah,
and didn't really have much of a lasting impact on their like overall relationship as a whole. So all good
no.
there.
If anything, I think really it probably like solidified their friendship a little bit more that they finally worked past that to a point where like Ray isn't in love with Mew in that way.
Oh yeah. I
So that
mean,
like
that's not something that could have been sustainable forever.
no, and it's one that's like it's a really messy way of getting to that point, but it like at least it got them to that point.
Yeah, at least they can say that they tried and it didn't work out. So like then in the future possibly Ray will never be like, oh,
Just
what
pining
would have
over him.
happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray needed his closure in the most awkward way possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Ray always does like the most dramatic things to reach an outcome and hey, whatever works, I guess. But
Sure.
and so yeah, Mew decides to give Top another chance. Oof. So he goes to his apartment and enter Boeing.
I love Boeing.
I do too.
I love Boeing so much.
I so we meet him like for the first time in person because we've heard in the past that Top has an ex named Boeing,
Mhm.
and we also have learned in the past that Top stole First's boyfriend. So, you can, if you're smart, you could put two and two together and
Yeah.
maybe figure out that Boeing is also First's, not First.
And
Sans, actually, yeah.
yeah, it's not up until this point it hasn't been explicitly like explained all of this, but this is where this all starts. And I
Yeah.
just first off, Boeing is hot.
He's so hot. He's played by Mond, and
Yeah.
oh my
The
god.
glasses look, I just
Yeah, he's got
he
the glasses are so good.
he looks I'm weak for glasses anyway, but he just I
Mhm.
don't know what it is about him and glasses, and I'm just like, "Yes, hello, you can be an ass, it's fine." Um,
Yeah. I definitely support all of Boeing's wrongs, and all he does are wrongs.
I mean, I think for a while there, he has a good time at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's not really, he doesn't really know these people anymore, so it's not like he's like, he cares
Yeah.
that much about ruining their lives, but
I
I
think
love
even if he knew them, he wouldn't care.
yeah, it's true. He is who he is. And I love his entrance. They're basically so he's in the elevator and Mew's in the elevator and Mew kind of sees him but doesn't know him, whatever. And they go up the elevator, they get off at the same floor, and then they start walking in the same direction, and then they get to the point where they both show up at Top's door. And Mew's like, by the time he's like, oh shit, like, and Top opens the door to Mew and Boeing both standing there, and ooh, that's how that episode ends,
Yeah.
and it's like, whoa.
So then Top has to do some serious damage control at this point because Mew is super mad.
hmm
And
Which
it ends
I
up
get it, like,
I mean, I do too, but also it was one of those. It's like, okay, Top is rebounding because at this point, like, he's just finding out that it's like the X and whatever. So,
Mhm.
but so like Top's rebounding with the X. I mean, that's not that off-brand for Top because he was also kind of a playboy before Mew, and that
Mhm.
was established. Like Mew knew that. Um,
Yeah, and I'm sure it
so
makes Mew think like, oh, are you actually serious about getting like winning me back? Like,
yeah,
because you keep saying that you wanna, you still love me, you wanna get back with me, but I go to your place one time and your ex is there.
yeah, and so that's where Top is like, yeah, I invited him to come like stay with me, but really, like he's like, we're not actually sleeping together. It's just it's so I'm not alone, really. And on that end, I guess I don't know if Top just doesn't have a lot of friends or what the deal with that is. Or if it was just because Boeing knows like Top's issue with like the insomnia thing. Because they're not hooking up, right? Like it's literally Boeing's just there to like comfort.
Yeah, or that's what they say. I don't know. Do you believe
Yeah,
them?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I
I
don't
think
think
the
Top.
first time I watched it, I completely did not believe it at all. But I believe it now.
Yeah, I think Top was sincere on that. He has a hard time sleeping because of the trauma, and to just not be alone while he processes a breakup. Because at this point, it felt pretty like solid that he like needs to start to figure out how to move on.
Mhm.
Because there's only so long that you can kind of wallow and like try and force somebody to like get back with you when you've screwed up as bad as he did.
Mhm.
Um, so But yeah, and this whole thing is so awkward. So they're like, Top and Mew are talking and Top's just like, for the love of God, I didn't do anything right. Like it's not what you think it is, whatever. And Boeing like walks in the room and he goes, "Hey Mew, are you staying for dinner?"
Boeing's always so casual about like
Yeah,
home wrecking, and I love it.
yeah. And so like he cooks for them or got like delivery for everybody, something like that. And he just like the three of them are just sitting at like a dining table together, and it's so awkward.
It
And
is.
Boeing's just like, "Yeah, I've heard a lot about you, you know." Boeing, shut up. It's not the time.
No, time and place.
And so, but it was so funny. And so, in the meantime, Sand and Ray again. Um,
Mhm.
Sand is trying to convince Ray to go to rehab. And Ray's
Good.
like, I don't have a problem. He's like, I can stop whenever I want. Um,
Sure, Ray. That
yeah,
sounds reasonable.
yeah, definitely can stop whenever he wants. 100%.
Yeah, and like good for Sam. Like this is what Ray really needs.
Yeah, he needs
So,
somebody to be like, you have a problem, go fix yourself, right?
yeah.
Um, And so Sand's trying to do that. Um, Nick is back on his internship thing, and he and his like senior whatever, they make out on the table.
Oh God, that's so like it's so questionable because it's like kind of his boss, you know?
Yeah, it's his boss, and an age gap going on there.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
the whole thing is just like, what
It's
is?
kind of weird, but
Yeah,
I at the same time I'm also just like, well, as long as he's not with Boston.
yeah. It was one of those. I'm like, I'm kind of here for this one. Like, I'm curious where this is gonna go now. And then Ray makes this deal that he'll go to rehab if Sand goes to. I don't think we talked about this with Sand's dad.
We talked about how Sans Yeah, we talked about how Sand doesn't know who his dad is.
Okay, so Sand does know who his dad is.
Or he's never met his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if we mentioned that, but
Yeah.
his dad doesn't know Sand exists, but Sand
Yes.
knows his dad exists and where he is, but he's never contacted him before.
Yeah. So he has gone before to the bar because his dad is also a musician at a bar. Same
Uh-huh.
as Sand, right?
Like
Apple
father,
doesn't
like son.
Yeah, apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
But he's like a jazz musician at like a fancy bar, kind of. Like it's like
Yeah.
definitely like a different aesthetic.
Yeah, so Sand has gone a few times to that bar and just like watched his dad. And so I think before this, Sand and Ray had gone once before and
Mhm.
like to go watch or something like that. I think Ray followed Sand there or something. And then so Ray says he'll go to rehab if Sand goes to his dad and tells him who he is. Right? Which is
Yeah.
not cool. Like
No, it's
that
quite manipulative.
right? Like I kind of get like maybe that Sand had not Sand that Ray had some good intention with it of like go get to know your dad, but at the same time like also like don't push somebody to do something that huge. Like that's not the
Yeah, especially and then like leveraging your own like health and
yeah.
safety.
Yeah, like Ray please.
Yeah. But once again, I mean, he's like an addict and he doesn't want to go to rehab, so
Yeah.
this is his, I don't know, way to kind of get around it.
Yeah. And then Adam does one of the craziest things I
This
wasn't
is
expecting.
this is the worst thing someone's done in the whole show.
Right? Like this has major repercussions to this one. So
Mhm.
Adam is still really mad because Boston is still not giving him the time of day, right? Which good on Boston, should have never in the first place, but you know.
Mhm.
So Adam is like pouting over it at like I guess I feel like they have like a family restaurant because he and Chum like are at a restaurant like the same place constantly.
Yeah, I
So
think
he's like
they work there together. Their family owns it.
yeah, and so he's like there and like Chum like sits down and is like, what's going on? And Adam goes, yeah, so Boston tricked me into coming over and taking nude photos and then and into having sex. And then he's also blackmailing me into having sex again, which obviously all of that is a lie. It's quite the reverse, right? Um,
It's so messed up.
and obviously Chum is just livid, which justifiably, like if I had like a sibling come up to me and be like, I'm being blackmailed to have sex with somebody, regardless of if it's a friend, ex-friend, whatever, or anybody, we're gonna have some problems.
Yeah. Yep.
So so the group Mew, Ray, and Chum show up at Boston's place and like livid. All three of them are like, "Are you kidding me right now?" And of course, Boston's there taking photos of another dude. um, and
Classic.
right, and so they confront him and they're like, um, you know, like why, like what are you doing? This is what Adam said you're doing. And Boston's like, no. I'm like, we did have sex, yes, but like he asked for all of that, and the photos weren't even nudes to begin with. Um, and Chum's like, Adam's straight. What are you talking about?
No one in the show is straight. Come on, Shum. You
Right,
didn't get
and
this yet? There's no straight people in the show.
right, and then like Boston's like, I'll show you the photos, and he's like, I'm not gonna blackmail anybody. Like, even he has a line. Um,
Yeah,
And
surprisingly.
yeah, and so he goes and he shows them the photos and like they're good photos. I'll say Boston is a really good photographer. Um
Yeah.
and they're not nude and it is whatever. And then of course this is a line that he's crossed too far because they still think he, like they still have a problem with the fact that he slept with the kid and they don't believe that he didn't instigate it. And so they are like completely not friends with him anymore and they kick him out of the project completely and they're like, you got to figure it out on your own. We don't care. Like you're
Mhm.
dead to us. Um,
Yeah, and this is the first time where I will feel bad for Boston.
yeah, this was a rough one
Yeah, I
because
mean, this is, like, way too far.
yeah, like okay, he shouldn't have slept with his friend's little brother, but like also like if like blackmailing for sex, like if that gets out to like the wrong person, like he could get in actual like legal trouble for that because how do you disprove that? Um
Yeah, and just, like, yeah, having, pressuring to have sex with him, like, against his will, I guess. I mean, that's really,
yeah,
really bad, so, yeah, it's super messed up to lie about all of this, and no matter all the shit that Boston's done throughout the show, like, I mean,
doesn't deserve this. Yeah.
no, this isn't even karma, this is just, like,
Yeah.
worse.
So, I will say the first time I watched this, I was like, "Yeah, Boston, you suck. You get whatever's coming to you now. Like you shouldn't have slept with him." Like the second watch there I was like, "Aw."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, I feel a little bad." Um
Yeah, it's kinda shocking, like, that, you know, this
yeah.
is what happened to him next, but
So, and then like a couple days later, I think Top goes and finds Mew at the hostel again to see if he has a chance. And Mew's like, "I love you, but I also hate you." Um
valid. Like, I don't think he, like, never stopped loving Top. It's just,
No.
like,
He was very hurt.
yeah, very hurt, and
Oh.
Top crosses boundaries and.
Yeah. And so they talk it out for a while, and then Top makes a lot of promises and is like, Boeing's not gonna be a problem. And then they're like standing next to the pool, and Mew just pushes him into the pool. and and it's like that's the first signs of Mew like really starting to like forgive him because when Mew's like walking away, he's got kind of a smile on his face.
Mhm.
Um,
I bet that felt good.
oh, I'm sure it did.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's, like, the best, smallest form of, like, payback you can, get against
Yeah.
someone.
So
So, yeah, good on their relationship. I guess it's nature is healing.
yeah, and then Sand and Ray go to Sand's dad's bar, so that Sand can tell his dad, that he exists, um,
Yeah.
and to make Ray go to rehab, which God bless Sand for being okay with doing that.
I mean, this is a huge, this is gonna change your life forever,
Yeah,
probably.
and so Sand stops his dad and starts to talk, and like Ray like interrupts him before he could really say anything, and he's like, "Yeah, we thought you were doing great, whatever, and like changes the subject so that the guy will walk off, and then Ray's like, "Okay, I don't need to force you to do that." So
Yeah.
good on Ray for backtracking just in time. Um,
Yeah, 'cause that could have been a little bit messed up,
yeah,
so.
and but with that, Ray still agrees to go to rehab at that point.
Mhm.
It's like fine.
Yay.
Yeah, thank God. Um,
Mhm.
and then we have Mew, Top, and Boeing at trivia. Um,
They're having some,
and
like, alpha male contest.
yeah, Mew and Boeing are like going head to head, like competitive of who's like the most like or the best at like trivia or whatever, and it's back and forth, and I think Boeing kind of wins that one, and he's so smug and like casual about it, like he's so just chill about everything, like he's like playfully like egging like Mew on with all of this, but he's like not like angry, like Mew's getting like frustrated, and Boeing's just like, yeah, I'm just here for a good time. Um
Yeah.
and like later that night, like Mew is like stalking Boeing on Instagram and does the one thing where he just accidentally likes like a photo And
Mm.
Boeing like immediately messages him and goes, "Hey, I see you're stalking me and you're snooping." And then he goes, "I'm also snooping through your account though, so it's fine." And I'm just like, "Okay." Um and Mew in his apartment has like a ton of plants. Like he's plant dad for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And Boeing, I guess, I don't know if he really likes plants or if he's pretending at this point. And he's like, "Can I see your plants?" And Mew's like, "Maybe." Like, I don't know what that's about. Um,
I love it.
and then we're back to Nick and his senior makeout buddy. Shows up at Nick's work at the the cell store with all the cell phone stuff, just to come hit on him.
Mhm.
And then he leaves, and like as he leaves, like Boston's walking in, and Boston's just like, "What? Who was that?" Whatever. And
Yeah.
and then the way they talk was very like coded of like Boston is like talking about how he doesn't take good care of his things because he needs another phone case because
Mm.
he broke his whatever. And the whole conversation's very coded of him like talking about how he knows he's not good at taking care of Nick, basically. Um,
Mhm.
and
Or asking to, get it fixed.
yeah, like it's very. I like how this conversation played out with it being coded. It was very fun. Um,
Mhm.
it would have been easier if Boston was just like, "I suck, I'm sorry," than the
Mhm.
coded, but it is what it is. But then,
But also I think for Boston, I don't know if he's, like,
no, he's not.
capable of just saying that, like, and being that
No,
vulnerable, so this is kind of his way to say what he needs to say, but also, like, not fully say it.
yeah, it's implied more than anything. But with
Mhm.
that, he is like check the screen to see how broken it is or whatever, and then like so Nick has his phone and he like lights up the lock screen and it's the photo of like Nick laying in bed after the first time they hooked up.
Hmm.
Which is a very good photo of Nick, I will say.
Yeah. It's
But
funny because it, like, calls back the last time Nick had a photo on his phone in the phone store.
yeah, much different photo, honestly. Same
Yeah.
same theme to it, but one was like I don't know how to take a selfie and the other one was like professional photographer.
Yeah.
um but of course this pulls at Nick's heartstrings because whether he wants to admit it or not, he definitely still has feelings for Boston.
Mhm.
So he's warming back up to him.
And every time, like, Boston does something where he shows the soft side or he shows, care for Nick, that's when Nick's always been, like, full in on the
Yeah.
Boston train, and so, yeah, the fact that he's doing this is, like, it works.
Yeah, because it's so frustrating to watch because like Boston clearly has that like soft side where he like you could see like if he wanted to, he could be a good boyfriend.
Exactly, yeah, and
He's
I
just
think that's what Nick sees as well.
yeah, and that's all he wants. He's like just affection. Give me affection.
Yeah.
Show me you care. And
Mhm.
Boston's like, okay, but sex. And Nick's like, yeah, I can give you that. And Boston's like, but other people. But dude,
Yeah. And so do they get back together at that point, or
not no,
they just
not yet.
okay.
They're it's
They're just on
it's
good terms now.
yeah, it's slowly happening, but
Mhm.
it's a very gradual thing, I think.
Yeah.
So, and then Top and Boeing are back at Top's place again. And Top's like, "I'm good now. You can leave." And because he's like, "I need you out of my picture so that I can get back with Mew." And
Mm.
Boeing's just like, "Bro."
He's like, "Where am I gonna live now?"
And I'll say whatever rehab that Ray ends up going to is really weird. 'Cause it's more like
Mhm.
therapy than rehab. I feel
Yeah. I
'cause
guess I don't really know how, like, rehab works in general, but
like therapy's part of it. Not talking from personal experience either, but like have like had friends and family that go to rehab, and it's like all of them that I've seen for something like severe alcoholism or something like that. You generally you go away for a little while, right?
Mhm.
Like you need to just be removed from the problem basically for a while and just, you know, not have
Yeah.
that exposure. And then after a while, it's like the support group type of a stuff. But he just goes for like an hour to talk to a therapist, and then he's done for the day.
Yeah, it's definitely I feel like there's different like levels of commitment for rehab. Like there's
Yeah.
like inpatient and then I think there's also like this, you know,
Yeah. This
outpatient
one,
thing. I don't know. But
yeah, it just I don't know how effective it is.
um
Um,
well, not
so
that effective. So we'll
yeah.
see.
So because he like goes into rehab and you can tell he's like, I don't even really want to be here. And like,
Yeah. It's hard to get better when like you're not doing it for yourself.
yeah.
'Cause he's
And
just doing it because Sand wants him to.
yeah, and Sand's there waiting for him when he gets out.
Mm-hmm.
And Ray's like, "You're addicted to me, Sand." And Sand's like, "Nah, it's the other way around." And Ray's like, "Okay, should I go to rehab for sand addiction?" And I'm just like, "Oh, my heart. They're so cute
Yeah,
together."
they are.
We bounce around a lot at this point because there's so much stuff going on with different things. So it's like very like short scenes, I feel like, of everything happening. Because
Yeah.
the next thing is Boeing is at Mew's place to look at his plants.
Oh my god. I can't believe they actually like went through with that.
Right? Like I don't know what Mew is thinking at this point. Like
Yeah, like
he
okay,
had
come see my plants, I guess.
right? And like Boeing's there and he's like, I want to be friends with you, whatever. But then he tries to make a move on Mew who just outright rejects him and is like, no. And it's like, what did you think that Boeing wanted? Like that's exactly like he's just talking whatever to get you to give him 5 minutes so that he can hook up with you. Um
Yeah, he doesn't care about your plants, he cares about your pants.
I like that.
Yeah, that would have been weird. Boeing and
Yeah.
Mew.
Yeah. And then Ray is at home and of course he's drinking. And he's like looking at his drink and he goes and he just like sets it down and then just like throws all of his alcohol away at his bar in his room.
Mhm.
And then he walks downstairs into like the dining room and he sees that his dad is like, trying to pay Sand for getting him to go to rehab,
Oof.
which is not great.
No. Bad
And
news for Sand.
yeah, bad news for Ray. Um
Yeah.
betrayal again. Yay.
Mhm.
More betrayal. Um and so Ray like lets him go home and then goes to Sand's place and like calls him out on getting paid off and like this is a very emotional scene for both of them. Like they
Mhm.
not a good time for anybody. Um,
Yeah, this is the most crying that anyone does in the show.
yeah, it's always Ray.
Yeah. And
Ray
I
cries
feel
a
like
lot.
Ray cries a lot, and I feel like First is just like a pretty crier, so they also have
Yes.
him crying a lot in all the shows he's in.
Yes. And so they like fight about it and Ray says some like pretty awful stuff and whatever. Um and Sam's like, "No, actually I pushed for you to go to rehab because I care." And
Mhm.
Ray's like, "All of this was a lie. You just wanted me for my money like the entire time. Like their whole friendship was a lie." Like Ray is devastated.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, and like I
and
understand him, he's already in like a vulnerable place and yeah.
yeah. No,
I I don't blame him for like jumping to conclusions.
no, I don't either. I mean, it was pretty clear what was like from what he saw, very clear what
Mhm.
was happening.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's what when Ray got the DUI, that's what Sand and his dad were kind of talking about. Like his dad was like,
yeah,
"Hey, my son cares about you. Like, can
yeah,
you do this and I'll pay you for it."
yeah. It's like he seems to listen to you. So can
Mhm.
you can
Maybe
you
you
help him?
can fix him.
Yeah. Because at this point, Ray and his dad have a really strained relationship. So
Yeah, and his at first I thought it was going to be cuz like his dad sucks like
yeah,
most dads in all these shows, but his
Yeah.
dad actually just like really cares. It seems he just like doesn't know what to do. Like what
Yeah.
they're not very close, so he doesn't know how to get through to him.
Yeah, he's not good at showing how he cares.
Yeah, but he does care, which is
Yeah.
which is good.
Hmm. So they, Sand and Ray are now not on speaking terms. Um,
Yep, they're screaming, crying,
yeah,
they're
and
having a
then
bad night.
yeah, because after Ray leaves, Top like throws like his like homemade like wine on the ground and just like screams and just
Sand.
frustration. Yeah.
You said top.
Oh yeah. Too many names. I
Yeah, I know,
swear.
right? I've been getting so
So
mixed up. The farther we go, the harder it gets.
yeah, and the next thing that happens is Top and Mew are together again. So that's I was already reading.
Yeah, yeah.
But so
Then we're in happy water ski.
yeah, they water ski a lot in the show, like 3 or 4 times.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why are they always like doing this?
Yeah, that same water ski place. I don't remember what show. I've seen it in a couple different shows where it's definitely the exact same spot. And I'm like, is that just a popular thing to do there?
I know. I love when you watch enough like Thai series and you just start recognizing the filming locations.
Yeah, the one house, the house from Kim Porsche is in like
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. It's a nice house.
It is. So Top and Mew are water skiing again, and Top is like trying to like make plans with Mew, like life plans of where to go from here. Like I don't think they're like really together yet, but Top's like, yeah, we should do this together and go on this trip, and you can, whatever. And then Boeing shows up because Mew invited him.
Mew is still not quite done with his, you know, tasting
Revenge
your own
art, yeah.
medicine, yeah, plan.
Which I feel like I'd be so worried that would just backfire on me to like do that.
Right. Yeah, I feel like Mew must be pretty secure at this point about Top's intentions, but yeah, it's like it's a slippery slope.
Yeah. And so Mia's invited Boeing to do all this, and they go together and like leave Top as like the third wheel because only two can do like the water ski thing at a time. It's really funny.
Yeah.
And then a little while later, when they're all like getting ready to leave or whatever, Top finds Boeing in the shower to like figure out what his scheme is, and Boeing's like, "Yeah, I was actually trying to go after Mew just to get back at you, but I like Mew now." And he's like, yeah, also we kissed because like when they were there looking at the plants, like Boeing did manage to like kiss Mew and Mew like immediately pushed him away. Like there wasn't like a moment there. It was like an immediate like absolutely not type of a thing. But
Mhm.
Boeing's like, yeah, we kissed.
And we already know that the last time that Top saw that Mew kissed his friend, Ray, he, that's when he went and slept with Boston. So
Yeah.
it's like when this happened, I was like, oh my god, is Top gonna do something stupid again? Just because he saw that Mew kissed someone out of context completely.
Which I don't thankfully I don't think Top took it that way. I think Top was like, okay, I'm gonna because at this point, like Top and Mew aren't together, so like Mew can technically go do whatever he wants, and Top doesn't really get a say in that.
Hmm.
Um,
But Top can get jealous.
yeah. So then Nick goes over to Boston's place, um, because of course he does,
Hmm.
and they have a very heart-to-heart conversation, which I didn't realize Boston was capable of.
Yeah.
Um, and Boston's kind of at his lowest low because literally everybody hates him right now.
Hmm.
Um,
And it's like it's not even like really his fault
no, because they're
either.
all mad about the like blackmailing for sex thing that didn't happen.
Hmm.
Um, and so Boston's like, why does everybody hate me? And why? And he's like questioning why he sucks as a person. He's like, why do I keep doing shitty things?
Hmm.
He's like, I
He's
don't
very
know.
just self-destructive and yeah.
Yeah, he's he's at this place where he's like, he doesn't know why he just can't be like a decent person.
Hmm. I'm also wondering that, but it is like I do feel like Boston's a fairly like realistic, well-rounded character. Like he's
Yeah,
not like a cartoony like bad guy villain.
No.
He's a complex character, and all the characters in the show are like that, and that's why it like works so well.
Yeah. And then Boston tells Nick that he missed him, and Nick's like, I missed you too.
Mm.
And then they kiss, and while they're crying, and and then they go have sex.
Yeah.
Because of course they do. It wouldn't be Boston.
Yes.
And then Ray is in his dining room just drinking. And he's like, he like clearly doesn't care anymore. And his dad comes in and is super mad and is like, why are you drinking? Like, why are you trying to throw your life away? Why aren't you going to rehab? Like, what are you doing? And Ray's like, look, dude, you suck. Um, maybe don't interfere in my life anymore. Like, you paid off my friend, like somebody I thought was a friend to like force me into rehab. Like, screw you, basically. And
Mhm.
his dad's like, yeah, actually, Sand was returning the money. He's like, he actually like cares about you, dude. Um, and like Sand was the one who put in all the research to like look into which rehab centers were like the best and like what, like did all the work and didn't want any of the money. It was literally just because he actually does care about Ray and Sand is the best boy. Um
Mhm.
and Ray's basically like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, he feels bad.
Yeah, he feels very bad. Like it's when he realizes that Ray or that Sand is like actually just good people, he's like, "Oh, I need to fix myself."
Mhm.
Um so Ray does go back to rehab because of Sand. Um and this is one of the most intense scenes. Cuz this is where Ray like has like the therapist or whatever that he's talking to is like imagine like the person
Mm.
you want to talk to is in front of you, and so Ray like closes his eyes, and then it's the way it's set up. It's Ray and Sam sitting in the room, even though Ray's just imagining everything, and Ray is just like full on like apologizing, and it's like some intense tears,
Mhm.
and like it's very very emotional scene. Um,
Yeah, it is. This is where Ray is winning his Emmy.
yeah, he put some work in for this one.
Yeah,
Um,
rent was due.
and so in the meantime, Sand and Yo are at YOLO. And they're talking, and Yo's like talking about how like she's gonna be alone forever, and whatever. And Sam's like, yeah, me too, type of a thing. And then Plug comes back, and Yo and Plug make up, and we're all happy.
Yay! Good for
And
them.
yeah, because Yo I think was talking about how like she doesn't make the drinks right or whatever, and like Plug comes in with some witty line of like about it. It was a really cute scene to see them make up.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very cute. We don't see like that much of their relationship, but what we do
No,
see, it's really sweet.
yeah, Plug is very supportive of Yo.
Yeah.
Um, so then Top finds Mew at school because Mew's been like trying to avoid Top for whatever reason. Um, and
Mm.
Top's like, "What's your deal with Boeing?" And his like, "Is it revenge against me?" And Top's like, "I have my limits too, though. Like, if you're gonna do that, then we're done. We should just end everything."
Mhm.
Um, because he's like, ending everything now, it would be more hurtful than you sleeping with Boeing, is literally what he says. He's like, just go ahead and hurt me this way instead, please. Um,
Mhm.
and Mew and like Top just like walks away after that. He's like, I'm done. I
Yeah.
bow out basically, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
like
It's
he's
nice to
fought.
see this like reversal kind of their
Yeah,
situations.
yeah, because and it's nice to see like, or it hurts to see that like Top like having this where he's been fighting for like Mew for so long, and he's finally like, you can't do this to me. I have to like look out for myself at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
But also once again, I feel like it's not like Mew is doing anything too crazy because Top says this because he thinks that mewing and or mewing,
you know what I mean?
yeah, Boeing and Mew kiss,
Yeah,
like, and that didn't happen that way. Like Boeing was kind of just lying, and so
yeah,
yeah, so he's like,
but
but
yeah, with that, yeah, I mean, Mew's pushing the line without actually doing anything, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like he didn't initiate that kiss and he put an end to it immediately, but he is the one who's like inviting Boeing to hang out with them and like he did invite Boeing to his house. You know, like
Mhm.
so it's one of those like he's towing the line of being a problem.
Yeah.
Um
But Boeing's definitely making it seem a little worse than it
worse,
really
yeah.
is.
So, but I think it's a lesson for everybody of
Mhm.
stop doing destructive things to each other.
Yeah, just, like, be normal maybe.
Yeah. So, and then we go back to Nick and his senior, whose name is Dan. I don't know that we ever mentioned that.
Yeah.
Dan asked to define the relationship.
Oh. Oh, Dan.
Yeah, they're like sitting on like some stairs or something. And Nick's like, Do you want to be boyfriends?" And Dan's like, "Yes." Uh and Nick's like, I do like you, Dan, but I'm not ready to be a boyfriend." And so nothing is really defined, but Nick says they should just focus on work and then he just walks away. Um I'm like, "Cool. That was accomplished nothing."
Yeah, very little strange portion, but
Yeah. I mean, and it's I think if he and Boeing, not Boeing, oh God. I think Nick Boeing is just one pairing we didn't have. Um,
yeah,
but
that would've
yeah,
been interesting.
Nick, if Nick and Boston hadn't have had that heart to heart, I think Dan would have had a chance. But I think after that
Mhm.
heart to heart, it was Nick is still hooked on Boston.
Yeah, he's not gonna give that up for
No.
Daddy Dan.
Um, and then Ray starts to go look for sand because he needs to fix things, right? And so he's going to different places, and then he goes to Sand's mom's bar and gets a pep talk from her about sand, basically.
Mhm.
And
She's,
then
like, your number one supporter.
yeah, as soon as like the first time they were like at the bar together, she was already like, yeah, I support this.
Yeah.
um, and so Ray finally finds Sand like at his dad's bar. Um uh and Ray like apologizes and he's crying again and then like runs up and like tackle hugs Sand and is apologizing again. And then they both admit that they can't live without each other.
Mm,
And it's just like, oh, finally.
yeah.
and and then the next scene is them in the bathtub together.
I'm happy they don't, like, miscommunicate too long, 'cause
Yeah.
I hate miscommunication. I've said this before, but I just, like this is, like, a good amount of miscommunication, like, it happens, you clear it up, and, you know, kiss and
Yeah,
make out.
I have such a mixed feeling on miscommunication because I think it's overused in dramas. Like whether it's a Thai BL or like a K drama or whatever, it's definitely overused. But it's when I sit back and I think about it, I'm like, I'm terrible at communicating. Like, because I'm so non-confrontational that I'm like,
Mm,
I'm so a lot of times I'm like, this isn't too far from how this would go because of me. Um,
that's fair. I feel like I'm the other way around.
Yeah,
Like
which makes sense if you're one who would talk things out and you have good communication skills, like that this miscommunication thing would just be frustrating to constantly
yeah,
see.
I did a major in communications, so it's kind of in my wheelhouse, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I have a STEM degree, so I don't have to talk to people. Um,
Yeah.
just leave me alone in the lab, it's fine. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
but yeah,
I'm happy that, the
so
more I can see Sand and Ray be happy and in love, the better.
right, that's all I need. Um,
They've had their angst, I just wanna see, like, Ray heal, and I wanna see Sand, by his side during
yep,
that.
happy.
Yeah.
The bathtub scene, they're just literally just taking a bath together, and Sand just talks about how much he cares for Ray, and that's the whole
Mm.
point of the scene.
I feel like Ray's in the bath a lot. Like,
Yeah,
he's taken a lot of baths in the show. It's probably symbolic of something that I didn't really pick up, but
I have no idea. He might just like baths because I can tell you
that's
right
true.
now, I also really like baths.
I do too. I kinda forget I have a bathtub, though.
Oh, no.
I
One
I
of the selling points of my apartment is I have like a giant bathtub. Um,
uh, Yeah, I know. I always like sometimes I'll see my tub and I'll be like, wow, I'm really underutilizing that.
So then Mew goes back to Boeing again to go talk about Top. Because Top basically told both of them to stay away from each other. And then Boeing's like, Mew, you're wasting your time with Top. You should be with somebody else.
Yeah, me, like me.
Yeah, yeah. And then Boeing tries to kiss Mew again. And Mewing calls him out on it, though. He's like, you don't actually like me. You just want to hurt Top.
Yeah.
And, like, good on him for calling it out. I don't know what else he was trying to accomplish, but I think that was also him just kind of ending whatever they were going with their friendship, whatever was happening there was like, we're done. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna use me to hurt Top. It's fine. Because I think Top going like I'm bowing out of all of this was finally like the wake up call that Mew needed of like, okay, I we're done. Point has been
Mhm.
made. Especially like they, Mew and Top at this point had been like working towards like building that trust back up. And so like they're working towards that, but then on the side Mew's still trying to hurt him. Like, okay, you gotta pick.
Yeah,
So
you can't like move forward unless you get rid of this Boeing situation once and
yeah.
for all.
So and then Boston and Nick then they go to the bar and who do they see but Adam? And
Oh,
Boston wants to go confront him and Adam's like, no, no, not Adam. Nick is like, no, 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 no. We're gonna do this a little different. Um
I love how everyone in this show, they're like, I could do this normally, or I could do it and try to seduce a person.
Yeah. So that's what Nick does. Nick goes over to Adam, who has not seen them walk into this bar. Um
Does
and
not
he's
know Nick.
yeah, doesn't know Nick. And so he like starts flirting with Adam and is like trying to seduce him and he leans over at the table and like starts kissing Adam and then gets him to go to the bathroom so they could go hook up. Like that's what Adam thinks is happening. And so Nick and Adam are like in the bathroom making out and Boston opens the door and just starts like filming and taking photos. And and then Boston's like, "How can you love me after you've only slept with me once? Like that is all you know about me. Like please."
Mhm.
It and Nick is standing right there when Boston says that, and you can see how called out he feels because he did the exact same thing.
Yeah. He was just not like crazy about it right after, you know.
I mean, he kind of was. He just didn't.
Not like to Boston's knowledge though.
Yeah, he just became very obsessive.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Adam, I think, realizes he needs to process a little bit because he's like, wait a second. Um, and then Ray. So during a lot of this, Ray has to do public service for his DUI, and he's not good at it because he's like working with kids, and he's so awkward.
Mhm.
Um, so Ray's like telling a story about like brushing teeth to get the kids to like want to brush their teeth or whatever, and he is just failing epically. And Sam's like sitting there watching, and so he just like jumps in, and he's so charismatic that he just basically does all the work for Ray. And and Sam's like, I'm effortlessly cute, like afterwards when they're talking. And he is. Um
Mhm.
and at this point they're talking and making plans to go to music festivals together eventually, and it's just so cute.
Mhm.
And and then Mew is back with his mom's I don't know if it's like a B&B or like a coffee shop or something that I think it might be like a coffee shop they own.
Mhm.
And so Mew's like they're decorating a Christmas tree because Christmas is starting to come up, and of course Top shows up, right, which is unexpected. And Mew's like, "What are you doing here?" And Top's like, "Your mom's invited me to help," basically. And he's like, "I'm here because I had already committed before I bowed out. It's fine." And the moms and like invite Top to like stay with them for the night since they live outside of the city, so like traveling back in is a little far. And Top's like, no, that's fine. Like I already got a hotel room so I can sleep alone. I'd rather sleep alone. And he's like looking pointedly at Mew. Um, And Mew, you can tell, is like, oh, I've actually screwed up here. Like he's
Mhm.
you know, he's a little hurt, but he realizes that, like, deserved. And Top stays for dinner, and things are like super awkward between Top and Mew, and they're like fighting over who washes dishes, whatever. Top's trying to, just he's being Top, being helpful. And Mew's like, I can handle it, whatever. You can go hang out with the moms, and like they end up breaking a plate because of that. And Mew's like trying to apologize to Top, and Top's like, no, you can do whatever you want since you can't forgive me for like sleeping with Boston. You're free to do whatever. And he's like, it's gonna be unhealthy for us to be together because we're both gonna be paranoid of each other now. And like, respect for Top for recognizing that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's true, but also, like, I don't know. I still feel like Top's in the wrong. Like, he's just
so
he's so
Top was,
selfish still. He's so like, oh, you're never gonna forgive me for what I did with Boston. Like, okay.
but he wasn't saying it like that though. Like it came across as very sincere.
Yeah.
Like
He
as
act
like
he is sincere. I don't know why. I just don't like Top.
No, I mean it's valid because it goes back to like whether or not you can forgive him for sleeping with Boston to begin with, right? Like, and if you
Yeah.
can't, like
And the
nothing else
difference is
matters.
I couldn't have, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I I also couldn't have if I was Mew. Like I absolutely couldn't have. But seeing that Mew has forgiven him, like at this point, like okay, like I don't think Top's trying to manipulate him into like feeling bad. It's literally like you and I are gonna be like super paranoid of each other about anybody at this point.
Mhm.
So you can't forgive me, and if we're gonna be paranoid, like this isn't gonna be a healthy relationship. I am done, right?
Yeah.
Like not in a grovel to get my attention. It's one of those. It's you do you, I'm gonna do me, and we'll figure it out from there,
Yeah,
right?
it's
He was like,
definitely reasonable.
yeah, because he's like the only reason like he even showed up, um, at the house is because he had already made a commitment. And he didn't want to break a commitment to help, whatever, because it's like moving Christmas trees and stuff around,
Yeah.
manual labor. So it's one of those. I'm like, for this moment, big picture, you can still be mad at Top, but I think for this moment, valid, very mature response, honestly. And Mew is very not happy about it.
Mm-mm.
um, and then in the meantime, Sand is at Yo's bar again, and Boeing shows up,
Ooh.
and that's where we find out that Boeing is Sand's ex, the one that the Top stole away from Sand. And
Yes.
Sand is very stressed that Boeing is there.
Oh,
They don't.
and as he should, because Boeing is literally just here to wreak havoc on everyone's life.
Yes, that's all he does. They don't really interact in this scene. It's literally like Sand just like sees him at the bar and is just kind of like, oh shit. um, I think they have a very brief conversation, but it's just kind of like oh, you're here too type of a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So then we're back to Mew with his moms, and they give him like a pep talk, basically of like, you know, work it out, whatever
Mm-hmm.
type of a thing. And then they leave, and then Top comes in and is like, okay, maybe I'll spend the night after all. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then Top and Mew are laying in bed together, and they have like the realest conversation that they've had like the entire show of like their feelings and their like their concerns with the relationship and everything, and they kind of reconnect, and like Top opens up about his feelings more, and then they cuddle. So
Yeah.
I think at this point they're very much back together if they haven't outright said it, but they definitely are.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day, Sand and Ray get passports, and it's like the cutest thing ever. They're at a record shop, and Sand is just like so excited to have a passport because they're gonna go travel to all these festivals and do whatever, and Sand's just genuinely happy. And
Mm-hmm.
Ray's so goofy, and he's like, I'll be your sugar daddy. and, and Sam's like, I don't want you to use your dad's money. I want you to make your own money, and then you can be my sugar daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And Ray's like, okay, that's fine. He's like, I'll make money off the hostel, and then I'll be your sugar daddy. It's fine. Um,
I love the thought process.
yeah, and then he like walks off to go listen to like whatever album he just got excited that he found, like whatever vinyl, and like he forgets that like people can hear him, and he's like singing, and it's so funny because Cowtown can sing. Like there's been a lot of talk lately I've seen on social media about how there's a lot of like these actors that get put into like singing positions that can't sing. I won't name names, but I can think of a few. Um,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
I would say Cao Tung, in my opinion, can sing really well. Um, so it's really funny to hear him singing super off key in the middle of this like record store, and like Sand
Yeah.
like runs over and is like, "Bro, like, dude,
Knock
like
it off.
people can hear you. Stop!" And he's like, "Oh, my bad." He's like, "I was just happy." Um,
Yeah.
and then Sand and Ray are talking again, and Sand's like, "So, Boeing showed up at the bar. So good on Sand for being outright on that and being like,
Oh, yeah.
because I don't think Ray knows anything that has happened between Top, Mew, and Boeing. Like
I
Ray's
don't think he does either.
no, because we haven't seen much interaction within the friend group during all this outside of like the last thing I think we see as like a whole group is when they go confront Boston about the whole brother thing.
Yeah,
Um
Ray's been just very focused on, like, his recovery and stuff.
yeah, rehab and his public service work and or community service work, whatever, and fixing things with Sand. Like that's been his focus. Um and so they haven't because Mew and Top and Boeing have also been busy hanging out together.
Mhm.
And so when Ray hears that Boeing showed up at the bar, Ray's like, "Should I be jealous?" And Sam's like, "No." And Ray's like, "Okay." Good. And like he seems like genuinely like, "Okay, that's fine. I won't be jealous then if you say so."
Yeah.
Um we'll see how long that holds, but he seemed like okay. And then Adam confesses to Choom that he lied about Boston.
Mhm.
Thank God,
Yeah.
finally. And you can definitely see her go, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
But then she also accepts him for being gay, which is one of those like if she didn't like hello? Like
That would
your
have been the
entire
craziest plot twist if she was like, "No, not you."
right? Because that was one of the interesting things where like initially she was like Adam's never like expressed interest in men, he's straight. What is your problem, Boston, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, like your entire friend group is gay and
Yeah.
you are too. You're dating a woman.
Yeah.
Like
But also it's
what
like, why would Adam be, like, scared to tell her, you know?
yeah.
But, like,
So
it happens. So,
yeah, I mean it's a big thing to openly admit, I guess, but
yeah.
like
The best way to come out is not being like, "Hey, that thing I told you, I lied about it."
yeah. So but they have their big hug of like accepting, whatever. And and then like later that night, Nick and Boston are hanging out and they're talking and Boston's like, "I'm going to go live in New York City." He's like, "I think that the best thing for me to do is to get away and see if I can make myself be a better person." Um
Mhm.
And Nick's like, "Yeah, I figured." Because like Boston had talked previously before about like going overseas or something for school.
Yeah.
And so Nick's like, "Yeah, I kind of figured you were going to leave, and that's part of why you don't want to be in a serious relationship." And Boston's like, "Nick, you might be my exception." Because, of course he is.
Yeah.
Um, and Nick just tries to like laugh it off as, "Haha, you're so funny, right?" And Boston's like, "No, for real." And he's like, "Why don't we try to like be boyfriends?" And Nick's like, "I don't really see a point when you're gonna leave in a few months." Which valid. Like that's just gonna hurt more.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
because it's like who knows when Boston comes back if he does. So
Mhm.
and also knowing Boston, I don't know that I would trust him overseas.
No, yeah, long distance with Boston sounds like a horrible
Disaster.
idea.
Yeah. Um and then Top and Mew go to Mew's apartment and they're like talking and then Top invites Mew to move into the penthouse that he lives in the hotel because his family owns the hotel he lives in because
Of
money,
course.
right? And Mew's like, I have to think about it, and I'm just like, the way people move in together in some of these shows,
I know, it's so fast. Like,
yeah,
you guys aren't even in, like, a stable relationship yet. Maybe get that first.
right? But yeah, whatever. I don't know. Um, and then back at the bar, Ray finally got Sand like a birthday present because like it was Sand's birthday like a while ago at this point,
Mhm.
and Ray, so he gets him a guitar as a belated birthday present. And like while like Sand's like super excited and like looking at it, Boeing shows up because of course he does.
Of course, Boeing's always loves a dramatic entrance.
Yes. And then Sand does a weird thing where he sends Ray home so that he can talk to Boeing.
That is weird. I
Right.
would not have been cool with that.
No. Like why? What is this about? You know,
Yeah,
like you
there's
already
like
told me not to be jealous. And it's one thing to be like, "Hey, can we talk in private for a little bit?" It's another to be like, "You need to just go home."
yeah.
And Ray's like, "Fine. I'll walk away. I'll
Oh.
go home." Right? And Boeing's like, "I'm gonna take you to a concert." I forget what the band was. It was like Monkeys or something like that. He's like, "I know
Mhm.
you like this band, so I'll get you the tickets to this show." And um, and Boeing like tries to make a move on Sand and is like, "Do I still have a chance um with you?" And Ray did not leave as he told Sand that he would. He was secretly watching, and so at this point he like jumps in. He's like, no." uh and and so this this is my favorite scene because like Ray tries to take Sand home and Sand's like no for whatever reason. He's like, I'm not gonna leave with you. And so Ray looks at Boeing and goes, you want to come over to my place? Like he's like, I got a pool. um and Boeing's like, yeah, sure. um and Sand's like, well, I can't let those two to go together, so he's like, I guess I gotta go with you guys. um, and then this pool scene, I love this scene because it's so Ray. Um,
It is. This is the most Ray scene.
it is. So Sand's refusing to get in the pool. He's like just sitting in like a chair. But Ray and Boeing are both in the pool already in like their boxers or whatever. And Sand's like, because Sand's like, I don't want to get in my boxers and get my boxers wet, whatever, you know, whatever dumb excuse he has. And Ray's like, well, we could all just get naked. And because he's like, we've, you know, you two have all seen each other and I've seen you naked. Like, it's whatever. It seems like, fine, I'll wear my boxers and get in the water. Because
Mhm.
Ray would be the first one to be like, yeah, I'm fine with stripping. And Boeing would also have absolutely no problem stripping.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a lot of tension happening because Ray is clearly like up to something and Ray's drinking. So this is
Yeah.
the next thing that I don't understand about his rehab process because it's like he doesn't really give up alcohol. He just tones it down, which is not
Yeah,
how alcoholism works.
it could just be, I mean, like,
'Cause-
recovery is not, like, linear in a way, so it's
No,
probably just, like, I mean, he's probably not supposed to be drinking, and he tries
yeah,
not to, but he does it a couple times where he probably just, like, flips up, but they don't really, like, mention it, really.
but they do mention it at some point where he's like, yeah, an occasional drink is whatever, and I'm like, no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no, 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 that is not how that works. That is
yeah,
you falling off the wagon and the counter restarts, which is it happens and there's no judgment when that happens, right? Like you get back up on you try again. But this like
yeah,
casual like, yeah, I'm recovering alcoholic, but I'm, if I want a glass of whiskey here and there, that's not a big deal. Um Rubbed me
yeah,
a little bit the wrong way.
doesn't really work that way. I feel like it's okay to assume that, like, by the end of the show, maybe Ray isn't, like,
Yeah.
recovered and stuff. Like,
Yeah, no, he's
I
definitely
choose
not
to
it, but
think that he's just, like, on the path, and then, like, after, the show ends,
yeah,
he will, like,
I hope
get
so.
better at some point. But yeah, it's definitely he's not there yet.
No. So, yeah, so Ray's drinking and Boeing's just talking about how good of a boyfriend Sand is, which is just so random. And so Ray's like, "Hey Boeing, do you still love Sand?" And Boeing's like, "Of course."
Oh
Even
my
when he was a
god.
top, even when he was a top, he
Boeing at
still
first
loved.
wanted Top, and then he wanted Mew, and then
Yeah.
now it's Sand.
Yeah. And the Ray looks at Sand and he's like, "Do you still love Boeing?" And Sand refuses to answer, which is answer enough in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which is a
Sand
problem.
must really get, like, hung up on people, cause
Yeah.
Jesus, dude.
So Ray does the most insane thing, and Ray's like, "Why don't you two kiss to see if there's still feelings there?" Right?
I love this part
I do
though.
too.
It's
Because
so
then
insane.
they kiss. Boeing and Sand kiss.
Mhm.
Like, are you crazy?
Yeah, literally.
And so they kiss. And then they quit, and Ray's like, yeah, Sand still loves Boeing. Okay.
Mm.
And then Ray's like, do you love me too? And so then Sand and Ray
Mhm.
and then Boeing is actually the one that suggests the threesome here, and Ray and Boeing start kissing.
When that started happening, I was like, "Okay, I've lost the plot at this point. Like, what's going
Right?
on?"
It's just the three of them standing in the middle of this pool, just swapping who's kissing who.
Yeah. It's,
And
it's honestly, it's great, it's iconic. The scene honestly doesn't make sense, I don't know, but I love
it
it.
it doesn't like Ray's trying to make a point. Like he in the most Ray way possible, he's trying to make a point of like Sand, you've got to pick, basically. Like Boeing's here, I'm here. I mean, we can do this the three of us and figure it out from there, but also like, you know, there's a point where you have to pick this on the line thing we can't do, really. But which is like what he's trying to do is just he's doing it in the most Ray way, so it's not going to accomplish what he wants. Um
Mhm.
and so Sand gets mad and tries to leave, right? And Ray just like strolls up behind him while he's trying to leave and is like, I don't know why you're mad at, like you clearly, like based on that kiss, you still love Boeing. And he's like, I just wanted to join in on the fun. And Sand's like, I don't want a threesome for the fourth time, you know?
I
Like,
do feel like this is one time in the show where a threesome might have fixed things.
I would have supported a threesome here for
I would
sure.
have as well. This would have, like, made sense, honestly.
Yeah.
I would not oppose at all.
Yeah. And so Ray's like, okay, whatever, no threesome. He's like, I just want you to let me know if you're gonna get back together at Boeing so that I can move on, really.
Mhm.
Uh and Sand's like trying to compare like the situation to like Ray and Mew, but Ray's like, I can firmly say that my feelings for Ray right now or for Mew are just friends. Like
Yeah.
100% I can solidly say that. And Sand can't say the same thing about Boeing.
Right.
So and so that's why Ray's like, I need you to make a decision and make it clear, or I'm going to make it clear. And he's so like smug about it.
Mhm.
Like his confidence is all there at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
he must know he's winning this,
yeah. And
it's, when this was happening, I was like, "Oh," well, first of all, I was, like, a little scared, I was like, "There's no way they're gonna break up the best couple of the show," but also it's like,
right,
after everything they've been through, it would be so crazy and out of character if that happened.
right, because this was like the last episode or like the next to last episode when all this is
Yeah.
happening. So and
Yeah.
then a little bit later, Ray, Mew, and like Chum are like talking about like Ray maybe moving in with Top, and Ray's like, I'll finally accept Top if he apologizes to Sand. Um, and then he goes, actually, it probably doesn't even matter because Sand's getting back together with Boeing. And Mew's like, Boeing? And then Mew's like, oh, let me tell you about Boeing and what had just happened with Top and me. Um,
Yep. He's like, "I know all about that man, let's compare
yeah,
notes."
yeah. And and then they're like at school, the three of them are again, and they run into Boston, who's like resigning from college. And Chum is there and she apologizes for slapping Boston because she knows the truth now. And Boston's like, cool. And like that's the end of that.
Yeah.
um I think there's too much damage there to really fix anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then Mew agrees to move in with Top if all of the issues are resolved, which like the only thing left really at this point is the whole Sand thing, like stealing boyfriend type of thing. So he's like, you fix things with Sand and I'll move in with you,
Yeah.
basically.
He's in, like, full Top reform mode,
Yeah.
and I guess that's, yeah, I don't know. It's kinda weird, I feel like, to be like, "This doesn't apply to me at all, but I want you to atone for this."
So, I mean, I think the purpose of that is one is so that
Mm,
there's no like toxicity within like the friend group
yeah.
because like Ray
Yeah.
can't stand Top, right? And
That's
so like
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. So like it serves a purpose.
Yeah.
And then Boston and Nick go on the cutest date. They go roller skating at like a skate park because Boston knows how to roller skate and Nick does not. So
Mhm.
Nick's like falling all over the place and whatever. And then like at the end of the date, they're like staying or sitting on some steps and just talking. And Nick like offers to go to New York City with Boston, and Boston's like, if you go to New York City, he's like, I'm not gonna stop you like from going, but like you should really want to go to the city and not just to follow as my boyfriend, right? Which very mature response of Boston. Um
Mhm.
like good on you for this one.
Yeah.
So I think with that, Nick's really like, okay, maybe I don't go. Um,
That would be like, I mean, could you imagine if Nick moved with Boston and then Boston immediately is just going to like, hook up with someone else, and
right?
that would be like
So
horrible if you just moved across the world.
yeah. So Nick hasn't outright said no, I won't go. But it's definitely one of those, okay, maybe I need to think this over.
Yeah.
Um, and then we're Ray with more of his community service with the kids. Um, Sand shows up, which was a little unexpected
Mhm.
because Ray's like, go figure your life out. Um, and so after the stuff with the kids, Sand and Ray talk again, and um, Ray asks if he's like wrapped things up with Boeing, and Sand's like, it's not that easy. Um, and then Ray's like, actually, let me tell you about Boeing. He's like, you still weren't his first pick.
Ugh.
He went after Top and Mew first. And he goes, don't worry about it. I'm gonna handle Boeing. Which is a little scary.
I love
Um,
it. Ray being like he'll handle anything.
yeah,
I'm scared, but I'm excited.
absolutely. It's because he's when he's not like whining over like thinking everybody hates him, like the confidence he has and the fact that he does have a lot of money and whatever, like it's a little scary what he can do, and then also he's clearly unhinged enough to do whatever he wants.
That's the
As
main
with
thing, yeah.
like Mew's birthday, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
because that like with Mew's birthday, one of the interesting parts of that is like by the point that he exploded, he had already told Mew like what happened with Top, right?
Yeah.
Like Top in Boston. So like that was already set in motion. He didn't have to explode on literally everybody else at that point.
Yeah. That was just pure, like, emotion and drunkenness.
Yeah. So then Mew moves in with Top, and then he's like, I need you to be friends with Ray.
Mhm.
And Ray comes over and is like, if you make my friend cry, you're gonna have to deal with me. Which is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I have said that to more than one guy. I'm like,
Yeah.
I will handle things. Um and Top pulls a Uno reverse and goes, if you have feelings for me again, you're gonna have to deal with me. And and they both seem fine, right? Like because they were both like kind of like playful about it of like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Um
I'm here for it. I'm here for their, like, patching up,
yeah.
or I guess not even patching up, but just, like, beginning afresh, like, a new relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, like they're definitely not like best buds, but they're at least like tolerant of each other.
Uh-huh.
Which is good because, otherwise that puts Mew in a hard spot again.
Yeah.
So then Boeing shows up to the bar and stands there like playing pool. And Boeing like tries to give him concert tickets so that they can go together. Um and then Ray like offers like he walks up and he's like, I'll buy the tickets from you, so Sand and I can go together. Um and and Boeing's trying to like process what's happening, why all this is going on, because like Ray's like super smug as he is, and then Mew walks up and says that he and Ray are close friends, and you can see where Boeing's like,
Yeah.
um, and Ray and Mew both claw at Boeing for not really wanting to get back with Sand, but only going for him because Top turned him down. And that was it's like the end for Boeing with them. We don't really see him after that too much.
Boeing
Um,
just, like, showed up, made out with everyone,
yeah.
left. Well, we do see him one
No,
more
yeah, we do.
time.
We do.
We'll
We
see him
do.
one more time.
Yeah. So, and then Top gives Mew a ring as a moving in gift. Um,
Yeah.
and like they're like in the bathtub together and like talking, and it's the weirdest conversation to have at this point because they're talking about how they're both difficult to live with, but they should have had that conversation before Mia moved in.
Yeah, that's something you do ahead of time.
Yeah. So, but it was one of those they're just in the bathtub talking about how they're both difficult to live with, and for like very different ways. Because Top's like very like minimalistic with like his stuff and doesn't have a whole lot, and Mia's like giant library and plants everywhere, and Top's like, yeah, I can adjust, it's fine, and Mia's like, are you sure?
Yeah, you
um
just have to have different aesthetics in different rooms.
yeah, because Top's like, well, Liz like ready to like renovate like the whole like penthouse to be able to like adjust so that like Mew has space to like put his like plants and stuff. And I'm like, oh. So then Boston and Nick are out on a date and they're being cute on the dance floor. And Boston decides to go get drink refills. And he stands next to Boeing, who's drinking alone at the bar. And then, for whatever disastrous reason, those two go and start making out. And Nick sees it, right? Because they're like in the bathroom or like out in like an alleyway or something, making
Mhm.
out. And it's getting pretty heavy. And Nick sees it and you can see he just like that exhale of like just, welp, what did I expect?
Yeah, he goes and kinda, like, sits
Yeah.
outside, and,
Yeah.
Boston finds him eventually,
Yeah.
and
And
yeah.
Boston's just trying to be normal. He's like, oh, I thought you left me, whatever. And Nick's like, we we should just end this because like they were like trying to do that like boyfriend thing for a very short window. That's why they went on like the roller skating rink date. Um, was to do the boyfriend, and like Boston was being really sweet as like a boyfriend, and he's really attentive and whatever. But like, um, Boston's like Nick's like, you need to like just be who you are, basically, right?
Yeah.
He's
Boston just has,
like,
like, a very different definition of, like, what, a
yeah,
relationship looks like, and it's just,
yeah,
like, clearly not compatible, and I mean, and Boston says too, I think he's like, "Well, I mean, like, you're the one I care about, you're the one I go home
yeah,
with," like, so, like, to him, he just, like, doesn't really
yeah,
understand, like,
yeah.
he doesn't
You,
understand, like, yeah, it doesn't like, I just because I kiss someone doesn't mean I, like, care about them, but
yeah. It's you get the emotion side of me. That's just physical. It means nothing.
yeah.
Um, and Nick's like, no.
Mhm.
And so Boston's like, I'll leave it up to you to decide if you can accept me like this or not. Um, no.
Yeah.
And and then we're to New Year's Eve. Um, this was another interesting moment.
Yep.
Um, so at New Year's Eve, the friend group has so it's Chum and April and Top and Mew and Sand and Ray are at the hostel to celebrate New Year's Eve together, and like way late Boston shows up.
Mhm.
And Boston does an apology tour. Um apologizing to everyone for everything. And
Uh-huh.
everyone pretty much like accepts their apologies except Mew, who like goes off to go like make another drink, and so like Boston like follows behind and he like apologizes again, and Mew's like, I'll accept the apology, but like we're never gonna be friends again. Like that's
Mhm.
how it is, which fair,
That's
right?
yeah,
Like
that's very fair.
yeah. And
I
and
like that he
then
didn't accept Boston's apology.
yeah.
Like, with Mew and his, like, how, you know, strong he's been with his boundaries the whole show, it's, like, it's nice to see him still, like, at the very end, kinda stick with it.
Mhm. It's very bittersweet because it's one of those I'm like I have like this hope for like Boston to be a better person, and like that would give me the closure of them being friends again, but like realistically they shouldn't be
Mhm.
friends, right?
Yeah.
Um so then we have a game of truth or dare,
Ooh. Yes.
and I think it's Mew that dares like Sand and Top to kiss.
They're like,
But
"This is how
the
you guys are gonna, like, reconcile your differences."
yeah, and And then they do kiss. And it's so funny because both Ray and me were like, wait a second.
I love it.
And
This is the best way this is the only way they could have, you know, got through
yeah,
their differences.
it was so funny. And then so they like Mew and Ray like jump in and are like, you stop. And Top's like, you sucked. You had no rhythm. And Sand was like, I didn't want to have rhythm with you, dude. Um, like I don't know what you're expecting.
Yeah.
And then after that, Nick shows up, to the party, and it was very last minute. Like everyone was getting ready to leave to go like somewhere to go watch some fireworks, and that's when he shows up and he tags along. The girls stay at the hostel.
They have a little
I
pool party.
Yeah, and so the guys all go to like the rooftop somewhere to go watch the fireworks and like Sin and Ray have this cute like listening to music moment and they're like sharing earbuds and like Top and Mew are like just being cute as well. And then like Boston and Nick go off later and Boston has like a gift for Nick and so he gives him this framed photo and it's the photo of like Nick like in bed like the from the first time they hooked up and Nick rejects the gift and rejects like being with Nick he's or with Boston and he's just
Mhm.
like no I can't do this and like good on Nick
Yeah.
like I'm a little sad I wish Boston could get himself together to where he doesn't have to sleep with anyone who spends 2 seconds looking at him.
Yeah, I honestly I love this scene and cuz Nick he's just like I think he says at some point he's like I'm deciding to love myself more than I love
Mhm.
you. And
Yeah.
it's really sweet cuz you can tell like I just like want Nick to be happy and stuff and it
Right?
sucks that like Boston couldn't do that for him, but at least you can tell that he's come to a place where it's like a place of acceptance and
Mhm.
like he'll be ready to move on. Like I'm not afraid he's gonna be like hung up over Boston.
Yeah.
And I love like at the end of this he's like Boston's just like, oh, but I can change, like whatever. He's like Boston's just like throwing Hail Marys out there to get Nick to not leave, and Nick's just like, I
No.
think you're the type of person who needs to roll alone. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's like it's so true, but it that does kind of sting, you know.
Yeah. It definitely sucks, but it's also very valid. Um
Yeah. Like Boston's not someone who is like prepared or ready to be in a committed relationship and
no.
he shouldn't try. I think Nick's like if you do like try and you force yourself like it's not going to last. Like, you know.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate because I will say that they are like when Boston was like trying to be the good boyfriend, he was good at it, right? Like it
It
was
was.
so it just he also just wanted to sleep with everybody attractive. Um
Yeah, I did like them together. I just do think
mhm.
Nick deserves better.
Yeah, Nick
Um,
deserves someone who's gonna be solely focused on him in all
yeah.
aspects. Because that's like the thing. Like if Boston needed to have a lot of sex, I think Nick was down,
Yeah,
right? So
but that's just like wasn't the issue. It's just like, you
no,
know,
he just
yeah.
wanted sex with whoever he wanted sex with. Um,
Yeah, he just like couldn't Boston just needs an open relationship.
yeah. Which speaking of sex, Top Top and Mia go back to the penthouse and go have sex. Um,
Yeah.
um, and then they're like just getting ready to like go to sleep afterwards, and the
Just like
fire
so
alarm goes off.
random.
It really is. Cause like the
Uh,
fire alarm goes off and Mew's like never heard a fire alarm before. He's like, "What's that?" And Top's like, "It's the fire alarm." And he's like calling on the phone and like asking like the front desk like what's happening and they're like, "It's the fire alarm." And I'm like, "Evacuate, bro.
yeah,
What
just go get down the stairs, please.
right? Like it's going to take you a while to get down because you are in the penthouse. So um like go." And
Hmm.
so, of course, it's a fire. It was like in the kitchen. It was very minor, not a huge deal. Really in the end. But it definitely like triggers Top like pretty rough. Because of his past where he was asleep and there was a fire and he like almost died as a kid. That's why he has this whole like insomnia thing. But he held himself together pretty well because Mew was there to keep him calm.
Yeah.
Um, I think if he'd have been alone in the penthouse when that happened, I think he would have had a bigger problem. Um,
Yeah. I feel like Top's like trauma with this is mentioned like once before, but it's never really explored. So I feel like this whole
yeah,
part is kind of like unnecessary, you know?
yeah,
It's like it
yeah.
doesn't really like give me more about his character, but yeah,
No,
I, yeah, glad they didn't burn
so,
alive.
yeah. I know. Like when the fire thing happened, I'm like, it's a little far into this episode to like start another like dramatic thing we have to like have closure on.
Yeah, this is like the very end of the last episode, so
Yeah.
it's like okay. I hope we're not like. Could you imagine if they just like died in a fire in the last
Oh
like
god.
10 minutes and be like, okay, that was only
Oh,
friends.
that would be so frustrating.
It's like that one Robert Pattinson movie where like they
Oh,
go through the whole movie and then in the last
yes.
like 10 minutes 9/11.
Yes. That
Yeah.
one caught me so off guard when I saw that in theaters. I was
Uh,
not
I
mentally prepared.
That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't see it in theaters. That's why I like knew about it already. But I'm watching that with no warning must have been so insane.
It really was, 'cause especially like so I grew up as an army brat. My dad's in the military, so like after 9/11, my dad went overseas to Afghanistan, well, to Kuwait. And so like 9/11 stuff is a little triggering for me from all of that.
Hmm.
So that movie it just like hit a nerve.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, it's pretty random. Also, there's like no Americans in the movie, and I don't think
Yeah.
the movie was made by Americans either, so it's like kind of like
Yeah.
what?
I did
But
enjoy the movie though. Um I
yeah.
haven't seen it since that time. I haven't been able to watch it again because it was just like that's a little much for me. Um
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like a fine movie. Other than,
yeah.
I mean, the ending's crazy. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
old enough to remember 9/11, to be honest, so I don't really care about it, but
Yeah.
it
No.
is an absolutely like
Yeah.
batshit way to end a movie,
Yeah.
regardless.
Um I thought like once I processed a little bit, I was like I thought it was a really dramatic way, but like not in a bad dramatic way to end a movie. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's
um,
definitely a dramatic way to end a movie.
yeah. So, but then then we have Sandra sitting in their car talking about Sand's like alcohol business. And I guess there's like some law getting passed that would make it legal for Sand to make this like wine that he's making. And Ray's like, I want to invest in it when it becomes legal, so that's gonna happen. Um,
Yeah,
um
I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's like the best idea for Ray to invest in an alcohol business as a recovering alcoholic, but
yeah.
yeah, it's
As long as he's not testing the product, like
yeah, I
maybe.
mean, if he's, like, very hands-off, like, just money,
Yeah. Let
yeah,
Sand actually run his own business. Um,
yeah,
just be there as the supportive boyfriend. Um
yeah, I mean, hope it works out for him, he needs to be sugar daddy with his own
yeah.
money, so
Hmm.
I guess he's got that in the hostel.
Yeah. So then we time jump to the very end, which it's February 2024 now. So we're 2 months later.
Mhm.
Um, and Yo is like the first like real guest of this hostel because at this point they haven't had anyone stay at this hostel. They've just been partying in
Yeah, right. Yeah, they
it.
must have just, like, opened it to the public or something, but
Yeah.
yeah, they've used it for, like, 4 parties so far, so it's definitely, like, you
It
know.
is like a marketing thing is what the party started as, but I also think that it just was a convenient place for them to party.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but I thought it was really cute that they let Yo be the first guest.
Yeah, I know, I hope she had a great time.
Yeah. And then Mix
Ooh.
comes in as the first like unknown guest.
Yeah.
There's he just walks in and like I think it's Mew that he clocks and you can see
Mhm.
he's like immediately can I be friends with everybody?
Yeah, he immediately, like, flirts with Mew, and that's how,
Yeah.
like, the show ends.
Yeah, like Top's like, "Uh-oh."
And I
And that
kind of
was
love that ending because I kind of feel like Top and Mew as a couple won't last, and so I love this kind of open ending of like, I wonder what happens next.
yes. So
I kind of
rooting.
support Mew and Mix
Yeah.
to the chaos. I love it.
Yeah. I also support it just for the chaos. I don't think it would ever happen. We're not gonna get a season two. Um
I know, but it would be so good.
so
Even if it was like new friend group,
yeah.
something like that, like a you know how like you ever see Skins?
No.
Okay, yeah, they do like every 2 seasons was like a new friend group that
Okay.
were like loosely tied to the first
Yeah.
friend group or whatever. But yeah, I mean it wouldn't be the same. It probably wouldn't be as good. But I just like I love just the whole. I love the characters of the show and the chaos and the drama, and I'm like I would be so down for another show that's just as chaotic and dramatic.
Mhm. I wouldn't mind like a special episode either of like a little later, see how things are going.
Mm. What would you
Like
like to see? Just like
I want to see
update on all the
Boston and
characters?
Nick still stay in contact
Okay.
and Nick like show up in New York just for a visit.
Yeah.
It's not healthy at all, but I'm here
What?
for it.
You know what's gonna happen? Okay, so Nick's gonna show up for a visit, but Boston's gonna have a boyfriend, and then Nick comes, and then Boston's gonna
Yep.
leave his boyfriend for Nick.
Yep.
So
It's
he's
a
like not
exact.
completely,
Yep.
reformed, but yeah.
Yep. It's because it's Boston's gonna have a boyfriend and Nick's gonna come and they're gonna hook up while
Mm-hmm.
he's still with them because it's Boston. Um, so yeah, I would like to see that.
I I would like to see that as well.
Yeah, and then I wanna see what happens between Mixed Mew and Top
Yeah,
because there's something there.
there is.
Um,
Yeah, and I'm not even like I don't really I like Force and I like Book, but them as a couple I'm not super like attached to.
I
Like I
wish
wouldn't mind if they like were paired with other people, I wouldn't really mind that much, I don't think.
yeah, I don't know that I would mind much either, and I think that's because I don't their other I've seen their other shows, I don't have you watched any of their other shows?
I watched A Boss and a Babe.
Yeah, because there's a Boss and a Babe, and then there's Enchante.
Yeah, I haven't seen that
Um,
one.
and I think that's part of why I like Top more because I got a little biased because I like Force more than I like Book. Um,
Yeah, I'm like
um,
the other way around too, which yeah.
yeah, but it's so more the other way around until I started watching the other shows where I think like Force's characters are just more likable in the other shows.
Yeah, I should
Um,
watch Enchante, I haven't
yeah, a lot of people don't like that one. I'll
I
just
know,
say
but you
I
liked
was
it, right?
I yeah like I mean it's not my favorite. I wouldn't watch it again, but
Okay,
I didn't hate it.
okay.
Um, it has like a weird like plot twist that's a little um
Okay.
and I think that's part of why a lot of people don't like it more than anything is that plot twist is like okay so
Yeah, I mean, I like Force as, like, a person, like, I think he's really funny
yeah
on Twitter and stuff.
he is really
Like
funny.
yeah, just acting-wise, like, I like them both, but, like, I'm not like, if, First and Cowtongue were paired up with someone else, I'd be, like, betrayed and hurt and sad, but
Yeah,
for Force and Book, I'm just like, yeah, it would be, like, I wouldn't mind seeing them with other people, it could be interesting.
yeah, I don't think their chemistry is as strong as some other like official couples.
I agree.
Like, cause like you said, like First and Cowtown, like them with other couples, like they both fought so hard for like to get together as like an
Mhm.
official couple, and like anytime they talk about their friendship, they just cry, which is so funny to me.
That
Like,
is.
like both of them, anytime they're on stage for some sort of fan meet, and they have to talk about like their for real friendship, and they just start crying. I'm like, if this isn't sincere, this is some bullshit. But if it's sincere, you guys are ridiculous. Um,
Yeah, that's
and then
true.
so, like, them or, like, even, like, if you split up, like, Earth Mix at this point, like, I couldn't imagine. Like,
I do not want Earth Mix to split up. I love
no.
them so, so much.
And, like, Jimmy C, like,
Mm.
I can't see them splitting either.
Yeah, I can't as well.
So But, like, Force Book I could see. They're one of them I could see.
Yeah. And, like, yeah, this show is fun, so like I said, like, I like seeing the experimentation of all these random ass people kiss each other who normally
Right?
would never. Like, yeah, I've never watched a, like, BL show where they do, like, they're just, like, constantly, like, kissing new people, you know?
Right? Like,
Like, I feel like the fans, we can't do that because the fans are gonna get mad, but I like it.
yeah. But it worked really well in this because it was so chaos and it was so dramatic and it was a problem in the show too, right? Like,
Mhm.
like all these people constantly kissing each other. Bowen coming in like 3 episodes and making out with 2/3 of the cast.
Yeah.
Um, like good on Mon for that, like 100%. Like I'm here for it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I
literally one of my random thoughts at the end of this is just, like, Bowen kissing everyone in the cast is so funny, and
yeah,
I to this day, I don't understand Boeing's intentions, like, as a character, like, what did he want?
to
And
cause
what
problems. That's literally he just wanted
Yeah,
to play.
I yeah, so I'm like, I feel like the whole thing felt kinda random, but
It did, but I
it's
loved it anyway.
entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's entertaining, so, like, I'm cool with it, but it was so just, like, out of left field almost. Like, I know they've, like, hinted and talked about him the whole show, but for him to come and just seemingly, like, no motivation, just come fuck shit up, I'm like, "Okay."
I the only motivation I can see is that he genuinely did wanna get back with Top because Top was the one who ended the
Mhm.
relationship.
Yeah.
So, I think
He
maybe
must
he
just
re
be, like, lonely or something. The
yeah,
fact that he went to, uh,
he was a
First Next
yeah,
Stand.
all these names because 'cause I'm so
I
used to just
know.
calling it, like, First and Tung instead of Sand and Ray.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're not these characters.
No.
Um, not by any means. Um,
Nope.
so, another one of the things I like that we didn't really talk about was, like, in between scenes, they would do, like, the interview clips. Where it was,
Yeah.
like, interviewing, like, the characters themselves, so, like and that's, like, how the show kinda starts too, a little bit of, like, Mew is just sitting in front of, like, a blue screen or, like yeah, in front of, like, a I think it's a blue screen, and he's just
Yeah.
talking like it's, like, an interview type of a thing.
I
Um,
love this. I'm pretty sure it's a reference to the UK version of Queer as Folk because they do the same
okay.
thing as well. So I think it is like a reference to like another super gay, messy show like this, and I just love that. I wish they would
Yeah.
have done it throughout the whole show, to be honest, because I feel like it only happens for a couple episodes.
Yeah, it only happens here and there,
Yeah. Little like
but
confessionals, you know?
yeah. 'Cause, like, at one point, it was, like, Mew talking about, like, the list of things he wants out of,
Mm.
Top to be a boyfriend, and it's, like, him, like, writing in his journal at one point of, like, "Yeah, he's hit this one," and he just starts grinning, he's like, "Yeah, I guess he hit all of it."
Yeah, I do. I love it. It shows like a little bit more of the characters'
Mhm.
personalities, and it's just like it's like a really cool like directing choice.
Yeah. It's a fun way of sort of breaking the fourth wall,
Mhm.
without really breaking the fourth wall,
Yep.
so which is fun. I'm
Yeah.
always a fan of breaking the fourth wall, that's why, like, Deadpool's one of my favorite, like, superheroes.
Yeah, and I
What's
love
a
like mockumentary, mocu-series type things where like they
Mhm.
always do that too. So yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
And I love the music for the show. I
Yes.
typically don't pay attention to like the OSTs of shows, especially like I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of Thai series just have the music sounds really similar to me. I don't know. But like the music for the show, it's like a bit more rock. The like theme song is so good and like catchy and yeah,
Tung
I
sings
thought
it. Um
wait, really?
Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, that's Tung.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm really big on OSTs. Like I'm one of those if I hear a song and if it catches me at all, like I'm Shazamming it immediately so I know who's singing it and then I'll go if it's somebody I don't recognize, I'll go listen to like their whole discography after that. Um
Wow, okay. Cause yeah, I guess I saw him on stage like singing it before, but I didn't realize that was
yep.
the reason why. I thought it was just like a thing
No,
for a
that's
fan
him.
meet. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
honestly, it's a great song. It suits the show perfectly. And the theme, the tight like I don't know, the theme song music video,
Mhm.
it's really good as well. They look hot and they're just sitting there in the bar.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I like it. It's definitely that's what put me on to like him singing because I
Mhm.
was like, "Oh, who's singing the intro?" And like I looked and went, "Oh, it's my favorite actor." Okay. Um like how convenient.
Yeah, that
Um
helps a lot.
and so from that cuz he doesn't have a lot of music out, but he's done a couple different OSTs.
Mhm.
Um
Yeah,
and
he
then
should release more music.
yeah, I'm hoping he does at some point, but as long as it doesn't take away from him doing shows with First, because that's
Yeah.
my main priority.
That
Um,
that is, yeah, number 1.
oh, which we should be getting new shows soon. I think fall is my guess is when it'll come out. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So overall, I adore this show. I
Mhm.
think it is one of the best BLs I've ever watched because it is messy and chaotic, but it feels so real. Like nothing feels so ridiculous that it's like this would never happen. It's like no, people are exactly this messy.
I
Um,
know. I feel like just every character, it's like this could be a real person, or it's like I know a person like this, but maybe not quite to
yeah,
the extent of the show. But yeah, it feels so grounded in like reality and in like you know gay culture and friend groups and just being in college and just being a mess.
yeah,
Sometimes you just have to be gay and in college and a mess.
yeah. I mean, college is the time to be the messiest, right? It's
Yeah,
figuring everything out.
it's peak
Um,
mess hours.
it really is. I say as somebody who's in a stable relationship for 4 years. Um, like I know what a messy relationship is. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts? I wish we'd seen more of Chum and April.
Yeah, yeah. I That's like maybe the one thing. I feel like the balance for the ensemble cast was done really well where, I feel like all the couples pretty much had a good amount of story and I cared about them equally, except Shum and April didn't really
Yeah,
have much story and were kind of put on the back burner, which kind of sad. I would have liked to see them more.
yeah. Outside of like the one like issue they had because Ray was like April Chum hates your movies. Like outside of that, they didn't really have a whole lot as a couple.
No, I mean, they were like cute and they were just
Yeah,
around, but yeah, they were just holding it down as the sane ones of the group most of the time.
yeah. Literally the only ones with any sense. Um,
Yeah, good thing they were around because the show would have been a lot worse, I feel, or at least their school projects would have been a lot worse.
yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say, I think.
Yeah, it's it's about all I had to say. After watching this, so this was my first show with Neo, who played Boston,
Hmm.
and I think it literally took me like 3 shows afterwards to just not hate Neo. Um,
Yeah, he bodies this role so hard. Like I'll still see him and I'll be like, oh, it's Boston.
yeah, I've finally gotten past that. I've watched enough shows with him in it now where I'm like, oh, it's Neo. It's like I've been able to separate him from all of his characters. But for a while there, like the first show I watched, I don't remember what it was, but it was like the first show I watched that he was in. I didn't know
It's
he was
on the
in because he's
Eclipse.
just yeah, but I don't think it was the Eclipse that I watched next. I think it might have been the Off Gun show, the Fish in the Sky or whatever it is.
Uh,
Um, I think he's in that one. I don't remember, but it was something like that, and I wasn't expecting him to be in it. And he like walked on screen, and I was like, "Oh, it's Boston," and he plays kind of like an annoying, whatever the show is. It was like a really like annoying character there too, and I was like, "Oh, this does not help me any." I'm like, I just can't stand this actor, and like I adore Neo. Like
hmm.
I love him so much, and then like now that he's like publicly out with his girlfriend, they're so cute. She just joined GMMTV.
Yeah, I wonder if
Um,
they'll do a show together.
that would be so cute.
Yeah.
Because I will say I like him in the BLs, but like
Mhm.
I'd be down for watching him in a straight relationship with his girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting. It'd be
It
new.
would.
But I do think, out of all the actors on the show, I think Cao Tong and Neo are the best actors. Like, I think in the
Yes.
show, I was blown away by their
Mhm.
performances, and yeah, so I really want to see Neo in more shows, especially shows where he plays a character who is like kind of the villain. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like in other shows he's like, the annoying, silly, dopey friend, whatever. But like,
Mhm.
I want to see him in more like role. Like he's so good at getting you to hate him, and I
Yeah.
want him to do it again so bad.
I want that. I'd also love to see him as like the lead, like not in an ensemble, but like an
Yeah.
actual lead. Because
Oh.
almost everything he's in, he's side character. I think Only Friends is like the only thing he's really
Mhm.
um like a main character in, and then it's ensemble, right? So it's still not like 100% focused on him.
Yeah, and he's in
Um,
like 20 shows. Like he's in so many.
yeah, he's constantly in new shows.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
Um,
he would be a great lead. I think he is pretty young. Well, he's 24,
yeah,
so I don't know. Maybe we've got time.
yeah, we definitely have time, but
Yeah, I would
um,
love to see it for sure. I'm hopefully the thing with his girlfriend didn't really affect his career too much, but we'll
yeah,
have to
that's
see.
that's definitely what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Um,
How dare an actor have a girlfriend?
right? Like,
If
God,
you
that's been
BL
a topic,
actor, why not gay?
right? I feel like that's been a big thing here lately, just in general. It's been really frustrating to see.
Yeah. That's happened with a couple other actors recently.
Yeah.
Well, good for Neo and Mint for like, talking about the relationship themselves and like doubling down on it. Like they're not apologizing, being
Mm-hmm.
like I don't feel like I don't see that a lot where they are the ones to be like, we're in a relationship, we don't care what you say, like we're happy kind of thing. So I hope he's happy and you know,
Yeah.
does
Yeah, because
well.
I think it wasn't entirely his choice to go public.
Oh, really? Because yeah,
Yeah,
I first saw their relationship. I think they like went on stage together or something. And
yeah, it was like some sort of fan meet thing, and it was like the number one seller is the one who got to go on stage, and or one number
yeah,
one buyer got to go and like meet him or something like that. And it was her, and he was like, "Yeah, this is my girlfriend."
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I think something had happened where it got leaked that they were dating, and so he just instead of like trying to cover it up or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
of like we're just good friends, which is like the go-to answer, I think. I think instead of that, he was like, "Fine, we're dating and we're happy.
Yeah,
It's fine."
good
And
for
they,
them though.
yeah, no, I love it. They have a joint TikTok account, and it's so cute. And like he went so all out for her birthday, like rented out like a movie theater and played like this video that he had made, and like came in with a cake. It was so cute. I was just like near tears. I'm like, this is one of those, when everyone says if he wanted to, he would type of things, right? I'm like, the
Yeah.
bar is so high and it's so wild that it's Neo with how much I hate Boston.
That's how you know he's a good actor.
Yeah. So I hope they're happy. I'm
Me
excited
too.
because he seems really excited that she joined GMM. So
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize she was an actress either. So,
yeah, I don't know what she was doing beforehand. So
yeah. Well,
but
guess
yeah.
we can we'll look forward to that if whenever she is in a show.
Mm-hmm. There's enough GLs coming out of GMM. Maybe she gets to join as a support character in one of them. Um
That honestly would kind of slay.
yeah, I'd love it. She's super pretty.
She is, yeah.
But maybe we'll have to keep an eye out, see what she does. And then
Yep.
maybe Neo will get to do something. I looked and he's still just doing more support roles, so I think he has a couple coming out this year where he's support.
Yeah.
But okay, I guess we can wrap it up then.
Yup. Works for
Well,
me.
you can find us streaming on Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon Music, wherever you're listening currently. Um, And you can find us on our socials on Instagram at TikTok at bl.in.the.air or Twitter at blintheair. Come say hi. We posted recently. It'll have been a little while by the time this is up, but we've started doing bingo cards for some of the shows we've watched. Feel free to do a bingo card for whatever show you're watching right now and send it to us or tag us in it.
Yeah.
I want to see bingo cards for different shows. It's with the first episode of OMG Vampires already like mentally thinking through the bingo card.
I love the bingo cards. Subconsciously, when I watch any show, I'm like, check.
Yeah. So, and I guess we'll catch everybody in the next episode. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.